In the second last week of July, Europe's best Blade and Soul players assembled their teams for a chance to represent the region at the World Championships. In the first preliminary week, teams wasted no time in putting on a spectacle, starting with this 2% clutch play from Ryuki.
This could be very bad. The dual dragon's already connecting in the meteors.
Oh.
Well, 2%. He just needs like one hit more to get it. But he's stalling for time with the frost armor. He knows it's too risky to try and hit Ryuki out. The flower is down, but he might not get to use it if Intro plays this correctly.
Ooh, this is gonna be so close, but he does get the stun. He needs to somehow survive, dance around his opponent. Ice Flower was procced, but Intro, just one hit could be enough. Ryuki somehow still in the game at 3% HP, does manage to find another CC. No tap escape for Intro. Can Ryuki make a huge comeback happen as the stun will connect again? Follows it up with the second one. So many CCs on the board for the stun. He gets the aerial actually connection, and Ryuki wins!
With not only a spot at LAN finals up for grabs, but also guaranteed prize money, there was a lot to play for. Bad Intentions continued to be the entertainers, with veteran player Mr. B putting his fearsome destroyer up against fellow tournament regular Luki, taking the fight down to a single hit.
Well then, managing to launch Mr. B up into the air, getting great return damage, and Mr. B doesn't actually have any defensive cooldowns. You got Gust up just now, but Ember Stomp was there just
so
in time.
close.
Is it gonna be
close.
a battle of the
No.
cleaves? Oh!
Stone shields and everything in between. Searing Stars get popped.
no.
No, the deflect! Out of all the things to close this one out.
With scores tied and the all-important 3v3 rolling around, tensions were high between Bad Intentions and Papa Enol. Sensing that Tenor had no cooldowns, Papa Enol used precision timing to capitalize with a perfect tag-in execute.
Manages to deal a little bit of damage, force out some escapes from Tenor, and now...
Oh, a little bit. Maybe you meant a lot of damage, as we will see Poppy Enel pick up that first kill.
Luki and Mr. B met yet again on the battlefield, and this time, the loser went home. Learning from their last encounter, Luki was able to get the drop on Mr. B and keep his team's hopes alive.
Pops out quite a bit of damage, persistence used on both sides, but Gust will soon enough be available for Luki, and that's when things will potentially seal things up for him, as 9%, 6% for Mr. B. Luki, he's so close to winning this one for his team. He's so close for making sure that Papiano advances for the losers bracket. 6% still healing just a little bit, but no!
He gets it! He gets it!
When a Blade Master goes up against a gunslinger, it's generally pretty one-sided. In order to avoid an almost certain death by ranged weapon, Zay of Puppy Enol pulled off a miraculous deflect ground pound to flip the switch on his opponent, sending the casters into awe.
We'll see how effective he can really be.
Another deflect!
Moment as he will get the knockdown. He will get the stun
This guy!
again!
This guy! How do you keep... Okay, we're back to old Blade Master ground game apparently. Don't you
know? Oh, second win now finally forced out at the very least, but 35% is all Ace 5 has left to his name, and Zay so close to finishing this off. Oh, sorry, Falcon attempting to re-engage. He gets the knockdown.
No way!
And he gets the launch and the finisher, Zay again.
Nerves were definitely high, and even the best succumbed to the simplest mistakes. Here, Ace 5 sees an easy window of opportunity and takes it.
Looking really badly in this matchup.
Oh,
no! What?
Did he just walk up slowly?
In the final game of the day, Team Bai and Puppy Enol took the series all the way. Both on 4 points and with a lot to play for, teams were relentless in their gameplay. But in the end, only one of the two Titans could advance.
Available though, of course, for the side of Team Bai, and with that, it's going to be the time distortion coming through. Luki caught up, but he will continue to spin. He cannot win off of it though, as we will see Ace 5 close the series.
Congratulations to both Team Bai and Goblin Spiders on their success in Week 1 of the Blade and Soul World Championship European Qualifiers. In the second last week of July, Europe's best Blade and Soul players assembled their teams for a chance to represent the region at the World Championships. In the first preliminary week, teams wasted no time in putting on a spectacle, starting with this 2% clutch play from Ryuki.
This could be very bad. The dual dragon's already connecting in the meteors.
Oh.
Well, 2%. He just needs like one hit more to get it. But he's stalling for time with the frost armor. He knows it's too risky to try and hit Ryuki out. The flower is down, but he might not get to use it if Intro plays this correctly.
Ooh, this is gonna be so close, but he does get the stun. He needs to somehow survive, dance around his opponent. Ice Flyer was procced, but Intro, just one hit could be enough. Ryuki somehow still in the game at 3% HP, does manage to find another CC. No tab escape for Intro. Can Ryuki make a huge comeback happen as the stun will connect again? Follows it up with the second one. So many CCs on the board for the stun. He gets the air actually connection, and Ryuki wins!
With not only a spot at LAN finals up for grabs, but also guaranteed prize money, there was a lot to play for. Bad Intentions continued to be the entertainers, with veteran player Mr. B putting his fearsome destroyer up against fellow tournament regular Luki, taking the fight down to a single hit.
Well then, managing to launch Mr. B up into the air, getting great return damage, and Mr. B doesn't actually have any defensive cooldowns. He got Gust up just now, but Ember Stomp was there just in time.
Close.
Is it gonna be
close.
a battle of the Queens?
Oh! Stone shields and everything in between. Searing Stars get popped. No, the deflect! Out of all the things to close this one out.
With scores tied and the all-important 3v3 rolling around, tensions were high between Bad Intentions and Papa Enol. Sensing that Tenor had no cooldowns, Papa Enol used precision timing to capitalize with a perfect tag-in execute.
Used to deal a little bit of damage, force out some escapes from Tenor, and now
a little bit. Maybe you meant a lot of damage, as we will see Poppy Enel pick up that first kill.
Luki and Mr. B met yet again on the battlefield, and this time the loser went home. Learning from their last encounter, Luki was able to get the drop on Mr. B and keep his team's hopes alive.
Pops out quite a bit of damage, persistence used on both sides, but Gust will soon enough be available for Luki, and that's when things will potentially seal things up for him, as 9%, 6% for Mr. B. Luki, he's so close to winning this one for his team. He's so close for making sure that Papiano advances for the losers bracket. 6% still healing just a little bit, but no!
He gets it! He gets it!
When a Blade Master goes up against a gunslinger, it's generally pretty one-sided. In order to avoid an almost certain death by ranged weapon, Zay of Puppy Enol pulled off a miraculous deflect ground pound to flip the switch on his opponent, sending the casters into awe.
We'll see how effective he can really be.
Another deflect!
Moment as he will get the knockdown. He will get the stun again!
This guy! How do you keep Okay, we're back to old Blade Master ground game apparently. Don't you
know? Oh, second win now finally forced out at the very least, but 35% is all Ace 5 has left to his name, and Zay so close to finishing this off. Oh, sorry, Falcon attempting to re-engage. He gets the knockdown.
No way!
And he gets the launch and the finisher, Zay again.
Nerves were definitely high, and even the best succumbed to the simplest mistakes. Here, Ace 5 sees an easy window of opportunity and takes it.
Looking really badly in this matchup.
No!
What?
Did he just walk up slowly?
In the final game of the day, Team Bai and Puppy Enol took the series all the way. Both on 4 points and with a lot to play for, teams were relentless in their gameplay. But in the end, only one of the two Titans could advance.
Available though, of course, for the side of Team Bai, and with that, it's going to be the time distortion coming through. Luki caught up, but he will continue to spin. He cannot win off of it though, as we will see Ace 5 close the series.
Congratulations to both Team Bai and Goblin Spiders on their success in Week 1 of the Blade and Soul World Championship European Qualifiers. Make sure to assemble your crew as there is In the second last week of July, Europe's best Blade and Soul players assembled their teams for a chance to represent the region at the World Championships. In the first preliminary week, teams wasted no time in putting on a spectacle, starting with this 2% clutch play from Ryuki.
This could be very bad. The dual dragon's already connecting in the meteors.
Oh.
Well, 2%. He just needs like one hit more to get it. But he's stalling for time with the frost armor. He knows it's too risky to try and hit Ryuki out. The flower is down, but he might not get to use it if Intro plays this correctly.
Ooh, this is gonna be so close, but he does get the stun. He needs to somehow survive, dance around his opponent. Ice Flyer was procced, but Intro, just one hit could be enough. Ryuki somehow still in the game at 3% HP, does manage to find another CC. No tab escape for Intro. Can Ryuki make a huge comeback happen as the stun will connect again? Follows it up with the second one. So many CCs on the board for the stun. He gets the aerial actually connection, and Ryuki wins!
With not only a spot at LAN finals up for grabs, but also guaranteed prize money, there was a lot to play for. Bad Intentions continued to be the entertainers, with veteran player Mr. B putting his fearsome destroyer up against fellow tournament regular Luki, taking the fight down to a single hit.
Well then, managing to launch Mr. B up into the air, getting great return damage, and Mr. B doesn't actually have any defensive cooldowns. He got Gust up just now, but Ember Stomp was there just
so
in time.
close.
Is it gonna be
close.
a battle of the
No.
cleaves? Oh!
Stone shields and everything in between. Searing Stars get popped.
no!
No, the deflect! Out of all the things to close this one out.
With scores tied and the all-important 3v3 rolling around, tensions were high between Bad Intentions and Papa Enol. Sensing that Tenor had no cooldowns, Papa Enol used precision timing to capitalize with a perfect tag-in execute.
Manages to deal a little bit of damage, force out some escapes from Tenor, and now...
Oh, a little bit. Maybe you meant a lot of damage, as we will see Poppy Enel pick up that first kill.
Luki and Mr. B met yet again on the battlefield, and this time, the loser went home. Learning from their last encounter, Luki was able to get the drop on Mr. B and keep his team's hopes alive.
Pops out quite a bit of damage, persistence used on both sides, but Gust will soon enough be available for Luki, and that's when things will potentially seal things up for him, as 9%, 6% for Mr. B. Luki, he's so close to winning this one for his team. He's so close for making sure that Papiano advances for the losers bracket. 6% still healing just a little bit, but no!
He gets it! He gets it!
When a Blade Master goes up against a gunslinger, it's generally pretty one-sided. In order to avoid an almost certain death by ranged weapon, Zay of Puppy Enol pulled off a miraculous deflect ground pound to flip the switch on his opponent, sending the casters into awe.
We'll see how effective he can really be.
Another deflect!
Moment as he will get the knockdown. He will get the stun
This guy!
again!
This guy! How do you keep... Okay, we're back to old Blade Master ground game apparently. Don't you
know? Oh, second win now finally forced out at the very least, but 35% is all Ace 5 has left to his name, and Zay so close to finishing this off. Oh, sorry, Falcon attempting to re-engage. He gets the knockdown.
No way!
And he gets the launch and the finisher, Zay again.
Nerves were definitely high, and even the best succumbed to the simplest mistakes. Here, Ace 5 sees an easy window of opportunity and takes it.
Looking really badly in this matchup.
Oh,
no! What?
Did he just walk up slowly?
In the final game of the day, Team Bai and Puppy Enol took the series all the way. Both on 4 points and with a lot to play for, teams were relentless in their gameplay. But in the end, only one of the two Titans could advance.
Available though, of course, for the side of Team Bai, and with that, it's going to be the time distortion coming through. Luki caught up, but he will continue to spin. He cannot win off of it though, as we will see Ace 5 close the series.
Congratulations to both Team Bai and Goblin Spiders on their success in Week 1 of the Blade and Soul World Championship European Qualifiers.
It was kind of a dream to play esports.
Hello and welcome to the Blade & Soul Europe.
I wanted to compete in Korea. That was like my goal, in top of EU. And then I achieved that, and it was really exciting to be there.
To be honest, we didn't expect to win regionals. We were like, yo, we can actually do this.
That's what I mean, 10 out of being 10.
And it motivated us, and we like kept going, and we wanted to prove that we can stand our ground against people, right?
I just told myself I will be there one day. Looking up to good players in EU, I got better myself, got into the community and helped each other out, improved over time.
You learn more from a loss than from a win. Play to improve, not to win.
Get good, make a team, and have a great time with us.
It's a great experience.
To every player that has come this far, I have seen your commitment. I have seen your sacrifices. All of this. This is for you.
Hello everyone and welcome to day 2 of the Europe's second preliminary for the Blade & Soul World Championship Qualification Tournament. My name is Brunj, and joining me once again, it is none other than the wonderful Barney. And Barney, we have so many good matches coming up soon.
Oh, we absolutely do. The amount of skill that is going to be present on everybody's screen, and within the next few hours is going to be, well, exceptionally high. And I really can't wait to get into it. There's this, there might be potential rematches down the line depending on how things go, but overall it's going to be, well, exhilarating.
And of course, if you missed on yesterday's tournament, we have seen some surprising results. I really like the fact that, okay, Bad Intentions are now back in full force, not only getting a 4-0 win over Freewin, but also over Poppy Anil, who, you gotta remember, last time around, knocked him out of the tournament. They beat him twice. But this time, Bad Intentions came back stronger than ever. Of course, Poppy Anil, or rather Team Poppy Anil now, with a different setup. They do have Jiro on that KFM. We'll like to see them bounce back potentially today. But the first matchup will be instead between Positive Vibes and Magic Warriors. That's going to be a very interesting one. A lot of different possibilities when it comes to the approach for that free versus free setup. And speaking of which, Barney, talk to us a little bit about the tournament format and what these teams are fighting for.
Well, as you can see, for the regular matches that aren't the semi-final and finals, we'll be keeping to the same format that we have been in both yesterday and the first preliminary tournament. That is 2 1 versus 1s, each worth a point each, a 3 versus 3 worth 2, and should it be necessary, a 4th 1 versus 1 to close the set out. And of course, for the semi-final and finals, well, there's going to be a lot of matches and a lot to keep track of. So definitely make sure that you get all of your various popcorn and confectionery and whatnot ready to sit through it, because it's going to be very intense. You won't want to miss a minute of it. And for the prizing, of course, well, when you get to go to the finals tournament on August 26th in good old Leicester in the UK, you will have a chance at winning $21,500 US. And then second place, 15,000, third place, 8,500, and you get 5,000 for just showing up. And the winner of that represents Europe in the World Championship. Quite a daunting title, but well deserved if you manage to get that far.
And so far, of course, if you missed out on the first preliminary tournament, it has been Goblin Spiders, or rather Team Goblin Spiders, who will lock their position in alongside the second team, which is Team Bai. Both exceptional for sure. But looking at today, as said, Barney, our first matchup, it is going to be between Positive Vibes and Magic Warriors. And unfortunately for Team Magic Warriors, Empathy has been suspended. He has been warned, but he did not abide to the conduct. So bad boys gonna be punished here, but it's gonna be AJ coming in instead on that Kung Fu Master and Destroyer, and that's going to be the key pick, I think, for that free versus free in particular.
Oh yeah, definitely. In a sense, potentially, not to throw shade or anything, but the Destroyer is probably going to be a little bit of a better pick in that 3 versus 3 because of its insane utility, its save potential with that Stone Shield iron plating that we have mentioned so many times before, with the wallbang from the Typhoon, that red spin, so powerful, especially when you already have someone that can initiate the wallbang for you in the Force Master of Glacier, or, you know, just launch them into the air and decimate them with dimensional salvos and whatnot. It's going to be very crucial, especially against the likes of Cymex and Anthrax, who have such devastating aerial combinations that you really need to be on point with those saves. You need to time them perfectly, make sure that you yourself don't get crowd controlled in the moment, because that would be very devastating. We've seen what the bees can do, what they're capable of. You don't want to be on the receiving end of that.
And it's interesting to note the fact that AJ has been on a team with Bill in the past. They definitely know each other quite well. So I'm curious whether or not that is going to play a big factor in this particular matchup, because again, yes, it's still just a winner's bracket. So the team to lose here is not going to be out just yet, but you definitely want to pick up a win to advance and face off against Bad Intentions. But as said, first up, it will be that 1v1 coming up between AJ on the Kung Fu Master versus Cymex on the Summoner. And this is definitely one of these types of matchups that I would favor someone like AJ.
With how many tools Kung Fu Master now has at their disposal, especially with the ability to use their strafe without a target. Even though it's only one of their 2 strafes, that is still incredibly powerful, and it can do wonders for proccing that Firestorm kick.
And we'll see if he can pick up the slack here for Magic Warriors. Make sure they keep their momentum rolling. So far, have been looking pretty hot throughout the tournament. Already looking for an opening. Finds one off of that Ice Guard. Potentially enable him any potential picks. Would ACC did not manage to land the Rising Dragon. However, he does manage to land the Flying Slam instead, launching his opponent into the air. But in the meantime, the Familiar catches him. No second win for the Kung Fu Master is going to be very dangerous for AJ. If he gets caught one more time, that could spell defeat. But so far, let's get dazed up, knocked up into the air. The bees are coming, and AJ is rapidly dropping all of his HP, barely surviving with 20%. Make that 9. Nope, it's over. Cymex makes quick work.
Okay, so that was unexpected. Usually Kung Fu Master has a much easier time in that matchup because of the tools that he has. But Cymex seems to have danced this dance a little too many times, and so is very comfortable with how the matchup goes. So much so that he decided to go for the B setup with the blue Pedal Storm as well. Admittedly, the regular Pedal Storm wouldn't really have gotten much usage. Kung Fu Master doesn't really have any projectiles, but it's still not really a typical thing that you would expect. And doing that and just destroying him so, well, cleanly and quickly, it very much sets the tone for how the rest of this might go.
And that is also a fair point to bring out with the more recent changes, which, as you've dubbed them, very good for the Summoner. Right now, the Bees has a lot more use, or the Bees build rather has a lot more uses in general, be it in the tags format or even in 1v1s, as we just saw. So well done by Cymex to pick up the first win on the board for his team. Next up, it's going to be Glacier versus Bill. So Force Master versus Blade Dancer. Talk to me a little bit about it, Bernie.
Well, it's going to be challenging, I think. And it can go either way as well. The tools that each has at their disposal, it's going to be tricky. It's going to be very tricky. The lightning draw cooldown, it was reduced to a mere 30 seconds. So, you know, if Bill gets that, he can do some consistent damage should he get the aerial launch. However, well, Force Master's quite elusive, and especially because of the multiple ways to ice themselves, it might be very difficult for Bill to get too much. But we're going into the match right now, starting off with a good Maelstrom there, trying to avoid things. Ooh, the deflect of the 5-point strike, instantly forcing out a second win out of Bill. Now, if Glacier manages to get an opening onto him, that will most likely spell his defeat. Glacier had to use a second one as well, but he still has his backstep available.
And we'll see how he can really exploit this opportunity right now. Dodges the Phantom Grip. However, instead, it's going to be Glacier landing his, forcing out the Flock of Blades, coming out of Bill. Still spinning around, still looking to play potentially aggressive. Make sure he forces Glacier into a spot instead. But in the meantime, has been taking quite a bit of damage. Even the Inferno there at the end, rocking so much of Bill's HP, now down to 45%. But he retaliates with the draw, gets the stun off of it. Very nice, quick moves, smooth moves by Brother Bill. Can he keep it up? Though he needs to step up, or rather keep the momentum rolling right now, because second wind is back up and available for both sides. Actually catches the days off of the last 5-point strike down, dishing out a lot more damage. Second wind has been expended on both sides, and with the catch, with the days, this could be at 7% now left for Glacier. He's managing to stay alive, gets the air launch. Can he get the relaunch so far? Gets the stun instead, sets it up, and there's so much damage. Even the beautiful 200 IQ plays with the Frostburst. Glacier on point. He could potentially bring this one back. Gets the grip, gets him into the wall, and brings it back. Magic Warriors are in it.
The style point. Glacier, more like most valued player on the team. With the way that he danced around, with the way that he danced around Builder, that was just absolutely, that was mystifying to be able to watch that in. It seemed to go in slow motion almost, the way that he so perfectly timed it. And although we can't see the actual debuffs on Bill, Glacier could, and he was keeping track wonderfully. Frostburst, upon exiting that Frost Prison, they get a stack of chill immediately. So that means that he was frozen, and Glacier timed everything perfectly, so wonderfully, that Bill really, at that point, didn't stand a chance. With his second wind gone, he couldn't even, and no Flock of Blades either, so that Phantom Grip that Glacier landed was guaranteed. It was masterfully executed, very well played. That they needed that.
And they most definitely did, because now we are at a 1-to-1 point standing, and with the next one, the free versus free setup, this is where it really will count. We're not going to have another 1v1 between these two teams at the very least for now, unfortunately. We'll see though who can get the win here. And with the free versus free setup, overall, Magic Warriors, as said, I really like their performance throughout this tournament. I definitely think they stepped it up big time compared to their last tournament performance in the first preliminary. Now, coming into this one, it's been looking good, and if AJ steps to the occasion as well, I do think they have a decent shot at winning this matchup.
Definitely. Although he will be on that Destroyer now, and like we mentioned a little bit earlier, it is going to be much better for them, for the composition at least. If he manages to actually find a decent opening, then it could definitely be what they need, especially against the likes of Cymex, who they really need to try to eliminate as quickly as possible, because in a way, it functions very, very similarly to how an assassin might, where they have very strong aerial damage, they have a very good damage assist, but they also have a party protection iframe, which they can use to great effect. So we'll have to see. He's actually on his Kung Fu Master, which I was not expecting. So be it, I guess.
Well, it is potentially more of a comfort pick, of course. He has practiced the Warlock as well, but since Intro is playing that role for his team, he cannot really go through with that particular pick. Now it's going to be dazed up by the Dual Strike, already forcing out the second win. So do you see AJ get punished for it again? And now with the time distortion coming in, the Flying Slam actually is going to launch his opponent up into the air. That could have been a potential good setup for Magic Warriors, but Positive Vibes answer in quick fashion and retaliate with an air launch of their own. AJ going to take a little bit of that damage, but now coming in with Cymex as well, soon enough to go out. It's going to be Antrax in for Positive Vibes.
Yeah, it's a bit of a shaky start, I think, for Magic Warriors overall. But assists being expended on both sides now. Antrax taking a lot of damage. Not sure why you didn't use any of your escapes for that. Searing Palm damage really stacks up. Instead, his escape gets baited by AJ, who's actually doing really rather well now. But with no escape of his own, he really needs to be careful. And he opts instead to tag out into one of our favorite mirror matches.
the wizard battles are in. We'll see Antrax though how he can fare as the grip is actually there. What? Trying to go for the setup. It's gonna be instead. Seeing Brother Bill come in to save his team. Glacier's gonna take quite a bit of punishment as a result. However, in the meantime, we do see AJ up to no good as Antrax is gonna drop down to 32% HP himself. But now with the Frost Armor into play for Glacier, Veils popped in on both sides. It's actually gonna be the Tab Escape used by Glacier. It's gonna be the Frost Burst as a follow-up to try and get a setup. But in the meantime, he does get the stun. It's gonna be Glacier taking much more here.
Ah, that deflect from the Firestorm was actually amazing. But now Cymex up against the wall. This is where Glacier functions at his strongest. Doesn't matter that Pedal Storm is there. It's too late, mate. You already took the dual dragons, and they don't care about Pedal Storm anyway. Now, trying to just buy himself some time. Glacier really doesn't want to be forced to use his backstep in neutral. It is a shorter cooldown than if he uses it as an escape, but it's still not going to be up otherwise. Now forcing an escape out of Cymex. Glacier doing pretty well. In comes AJ with the Rising Dragon. Those dual dragons! Antrax came in as well and took the brunt of that. Glacier getting the collateral damage that he so desperately needs for his team.
Ooh, but now he does not have those defensives. He is gonna just go ahead and tag out. Very nicely done by Brother Bill to make sure he gets the timing. Punishes intros, tag in instead. And now getting the stun. Alpha the raid will go through with the take flight. Cymex coming in, looking for that aerial damage. Will not be happening. Intro managing to stay safe with the help of his teammate. Glacier coming in clutch there, but now Thrall is in play, and with Bill dancing around looking to go out of it, disengage instead. It's gonna force an assist out of the side of positive vibes. So this is exactly what Magic Warriors want.
Magic Warriors is looking very good with at least one assist on every single player, whereas 2 players on the side of Positive Vibes are already out. Both Cymex and Antrax no longer have it, and Brother Bill, although he has assists, no longer has any tag outs. That could be devastating against the likes of Intro, assuming he doesn't just die here. Luckily, Glacier is there with that Frost Sheath that is so very necessary for that. Phantom grips Cymex before Glacier tags out, and Intro goes into AJ.
But now the problem is Intro as well, or rather Glacier does not have that assist available any longer. And now with quite a bit of damage potentially coming through from Cymex, AJ might be in trouble. He does still have that second win, so that's going to be most definitely a pretty safe grace. But the Cutful Ultimate going for the familiar. Not going to be too successful, but we do see him still look to dish out that PB damage so far though. As we see Antrax come in instead, it's gonna be that second one forced out, so we do not want to sit in there any longer if you're AJ. And now Frostburst, gonna be another good setup for Antrax, and now Positive Vibes definitely taking the lead.
Yeah, but Glacier does actually end up getting deflected off of Antrax's Firestorm. He's 2 for 2 on those so far. Glacier now in a really rough spot with no escapes available on him. He needs to avoid the Phantom Grip from Antrax, or he'll just tag out instead. He doesn't want to risk that at all. But now the Dragon Well being used onto Intro, forcing him to at least use his roll. And his guard is now broken, so he needs to try and do as much as he can. But the Divine Veil is going to deny him a large part of his damage. Luckily, he's keeping Antrax on the back foot. Dragon Helix does still go through Divine Veil, and he's healing himself up rather nicely. Time Distortion is there, but he does get knocked out of it by a very timely Dragon Well from Antrax, who decides to now just make some distance and tag out into Cymex.
Oh, actually, Cymex is definitely going to be able to dish out quite a bit of damage himself, as Intro's going to drop down to 34%. Last assist used from the side of Magic Warriors, if you're not counting Intro. And now with the air launch, it's going to be Glacier dropping to 50%, but somehow manages to stay alive. But this is such a landslide of an advantage for Positive Vibes. Now looking to close out this matchup. It's going to be so close, but 20% HP left. You do see the assist finally coming through by Intro. 1 minute and 32 seconds until both of these teams are going to get one additional interference chance, but that's still quite a long time considering the current situation, especially for Glacier. He is stuck in this one for 1 more minute right now.
Oh, and if he doesn't have his ice armor up again soon, his healing one is going to be very, very tough. The ultimate gets cancelled, but Glacier takes a bunch of damage in return for it. He needs to be very, very careful. Only 5% health. No veil, no armor. The beast will just run right through him. In comes AJ with no tag outs available. It's now just glorified 1 versus 1s for at least 1 more minute. And we saw how this matchup went in the 1 versus 1. Let's hope AJ manages to do a little bit better this time around. getting the flying slam, but immediately bounced afterwards.
Oh, that is not what you're looking for if you want to get that advantage in the matchup. As he said, 30% HP left for AJ Cymex. He's been having a field day so far as he gets the launch. The bees are here to stay, and AJ will be taken out. Magic Warriors now. It's going to be only down to Intro. Cymex still left into the arena with 2 seconds left. Intro, knowing that he's most likely looking to get out, he's going to be able to dish out quite a bit of damage himself, but it's going to be such a tough ask of him. Look at Brother Bill. Has 1 assist, has so much HP. Now, Anthrax in that Frost Armor.
3-minute cooldown, though, but still, questionable at best. But now Intro is it's such a dire situation. Being the fact that there are now more assists available for the side of Positive Vibes, it's just going to be no,
melted.
Just what a way to finish. Stylish, but at the same time, that's
brutal.
Pride is just shattered after that one. Very unfortunate. So Positive Vibes will be taking that one 3-1, but there were a lot of very, very good moments from them. I really have to say, the change that definitely slid under many people's radar for Force Master was the deflect window for Firestorm got increased to 1 whole second. That is a lot of safety you have there, and Anthrax really knows how to abuse it, especially in that mirror match. Glacier's Force Blast, the stun ability, got deflected twice, 2 for 2, and that's not something you ever want to have happen when it's such a pivotal ability for the Force Master. Very well played on his part.
And now Positive Vibes are potentially just 1 match away from securing themselves the spot at the finals. Remember, all these teams are fighting for one last opportunity to make it through and go and potentially even represent Europe at the World Championship. So far, though, it's going to be in the winners bracket finals. Bad Intentions versus Positive Vibes, which you just watched. It's going to be very exciting. Traditionally, Bad Intentions has had a good track record against this lineup, but will be an interesting one nevertheless, because we will be moving on to the 8-set mix and match setup. So a lot more action will be coming your way soon enough.
Indeed. Although it's certainly going to be a match to look forward to, given the the reputation of all the teams. But for now, we'll actually be going to Playlist versus Papi Enol. Now, I really quite like the team of Papi Enol. In fact, I kind of want them to go all the way. But that's not for me to decide. Biased? Me? No, never. But with how they've been performing, and of course it was Zay's birthday yesterday, so he had a lot of great moments there as well. It was a little bit unfortunate towards the end there, but ultimately I do still think they have an amazing shot at actually getting through to the losers finals and then ultimately winning it. But they still have a large hurdle in front of them, especially now with the way that we've seen Playlist play. Yoni he kind of solo carried in most of the matches yesterday, essentially, getting 3 KOs in the 3 versus 3. He plays completely out of his mind. No one really expected, I certainly wasn't expecting it to be quite so destructive. But it certainly has been, and it's been a sight to behold. So definitely, Papi Enol, the worst thing they can do right now is underestimate their opponents. And
I do think one of the important factors now is the fact that they do have someone like Jiro, so we might even actually see a Kung Fu Master mirror matchup. And I think this one should be one for the ages because, as you said, yesterday's performance coming out of Yoni he was absolutely amazing. If you missed out on the action, highly recommend you check out the VOD over on YouTube because it's been explosive. 3 kills just by Yoni he in that tag setup it's just amazing. So we'll see how this one will turn out, as it will be actually Yoni he versus Zay for the first 1v1. And Barney, I think you quite like Zay.
Whatever gave you that impression. But Yeah, he's been playing really. He's rekindled my love for Blade Master, which is a very difficult thing to do. And in this matchup where Blade Master generally has the advantage, it's still gonna be a little bit difficult for Yoniki, even with the Kung Fu Master buffs, to try and avoid that oh so powerful Soaring Falcon. And we'll see who managed to get the opener.
Tried to predict with the Rising Dragon, did not catch. Instead, though, will be able to counter around and strafe as well. Wing Protector now, or rather that Hongmu block now being used, is gonna find the stun. That's gonna be really good. Yoni, he's gonna take quite a bit of damage for his trouble. Now down to 50%. Zay, just stop it! Not like this. The second win forced out is gonna keep Yoni safe, but second win is still available for Zay, so this could turn sour really quick for Yoni. It's not over yet, though. We'll see whether or not he can find that angle. He gets the stun! The flickers Zay trying to style right now. Gets launched up into the air instead, and Yoni with the Rising Dragon is going to be able to heal up quite a bit as well. Still holding on to that second win. Should keep him safe, but it's going to be much closer than perhaps he anticipated. Well, countering, he does have that defensive backup, but whew, that was really close.
Oh, he's looking for it. He needs to be very, very careful now. Oh, the Perseverance used on the ground, allowing for him to avoid that. However, the defense penetration goes through, procs the Searing Palm stun. Zay needs to be so careful here. He had such an amazing start, but he needs to be careful. Watch out for the Flying Slam.
Oh no! That's it!
That's gonna be it! Oh, no! That was so very, very close, and it looked to be in Zay's favor for the majority of that fight. It looked like Zay kind of held on to the second. Like, Yoni, he was playing so very carefully, avoiding any potential second win usage out of Zay, but he did hold on to it for quite some time, and he wasn't quite able to get to continue the opening that he had towards the very end there. The Flock of Blades not quite connecting, and the Lightning Rod traded while he was still mid-air. Yoni, though he didn't respect the Searing Slash damage in the beginning of the match, he pulled it back, and he pulled it back in style and convincingly as well. That Flurry iframe is very, very strong. Its damage is very good on its own. It's a 30-second cooldown, 2 seconds bouts of invulnerability, and if you get hit during it, you get a free Firestorm kick. What's not to love? And especially against a Blade Master. Oh, that is some spicy utility you get there.
And perhaps you could argue there's a little bit of overconfidence at play right now for Zay, holding on to that second win too for such a long time, but you kind of have to, right, when there is that danger, especially with something like a Tremor coming into play. That stun is just lasts way too long for you to not opt in to use that second win once it does come out. But in this case, Yoni definitely, as we've said, the player to look out for if you're looking at playlists, because I think if they're gonna get a win here versus a team like Papiano, who managed to almost qualify last time around, it's gonna have to be through somebody like Yoni. But next up, it will be Queen Fairy on the Assassin versus Luki on the Destroyer, and this is most likely going to be what Papiano needs to bounce back and equalize it up.
Definitely, and we've seen Luki play against Assassins previously. Still not too sure about the decision that he made before to keep the targeted drag, whether it was a mistake or not. Personally, I would value the area of effect drag much more because you have a chance to actually hit the assassin out of stealth with it, but we'll see what he goes for here. He is running the standard Earth Bell, no cheese strats this time. Doesn't get the opener, the swap into an immediate Lotus Kick from Queen Fairy into High Wire. Luki already on the back foot. Needs to be very, very careful. Already forced to use his Gust ability. Very, very bad. It's going to be rough. He gets caught out again. And he might have to use Persistence already.
Oh, we haven't talked too much about Queen Fairy, or as you may have known him on the ladder, Trucidator. He's definitely one you gotta keep your eyes out for as well. The Lotus of Escape is still available. Persistence on top of it for the side of Luki, and he might be forced to use it soon enough. However, now as we do see, Queen Fairy still relentless. 24% HP left for Luki. He's in such big trouble, but Gust will be coming back up soon enough. He gets the stun. This is the opportunity Luki really desperately needs, but can he keep it up? Because so far, Queen Fairy was able to disengage and waiting it out patiently. Does seem like Persistence will be forced out too. And now Luki will be in big trouble. But this is the type of moves he definitely, desperately needs.
Oh, he needs to definitely try and avoid it. He actually catches him out! Oh no, this could be the opening that he so desperately needed. But now no escapes available. If Luki doesn't have anything available here, it's going to be very tough for him. He actually has the stun blitz. This is kind of what he needs. And the stone shield. He's pulling it back around. He doesn't have quite enough damage, but he's using the defense penetration spin that has an increased radius in hopes of getting Queen Fairy out. But he needs to avoid this swap. It's going to be the most devastating thing for him right now. He'll have his Gust available soon and Persistence to boot, but the flower is available for Queen Fairy. Knocks him back with Typhoon, catches him with the stun, forces him to use his flower. This is so very intense. Gets caught out!
No!
Why? The
Persistence is there! No! What?
He can't use Persistence because of close shave. Oh, what a comeback.
And the lightning stride at the end as well.
That was that was dastardly. The way that he managed to abuse that. If Luki had somehow managed to predict that with the Persistence, he would have been fine. But predicting that is such a large task. The assassin animations are just so quick. You need to have ungodly reflexes in order to react to that, instinctively. But he was so close. If he had held on a little bit longer, if he had managed to make... There were so many things that might have gone in his favor that time. If the Mighty Cleave had come up earlier, if he had maybe tried to extend the crowd control for as long as he possibly could have, maybe when he had him in the Ember Stomp, that would have been enough to kill him. But 8%, it's so saddening. Now Papi Enel on the back foot. They need to win both the 3 versus 3 and the 1 versus 1 afterwards. It's looking pretty grim.
And I do think your caster curse is the deadliest, Barney, because remember, this is a crucial matchup for Papi Enel, a team that has been really touted as perhaps the favorite in the second preliminary after such an amazing performance in the first preliminary. And you can't even blame someone like Jiro coming in for this team, because it's been Zay and Luki who lost their respective 1v1s right now. And you can't not count out somebody like Yoni Heat, like Queen Fairy or True Sedator, because if they find those potential small advantages, they're gonna make sure they exploit them to their fullest. So Playlist now, one set away from knocking out Team Papi Enel out of the tournament.
Yeah, I don't think anybody was really expecting this one so much. Papi Enel, because of their very dominant performance in the first preliminary tournament, and they were so very close to actually making it through, qualifying, but they were just beaten out, and it was an incredibly close match. So now to see them on such a back foot is a little bit worrying for them, but they can still do it. They've been known to do, to win against the more immeasurable odds. They won against Bad Intentions twice, so it's really anyone's guess. But this is going to be the pivotal one. If they win this, then they only need to worry about the 1 versus 1.
And we'll see if they can bring this one back. It's going to be a monumental task. Jiro up for starting, or rather in the starting lineup for Team Papi Enel, as it is going to be Queen Fairy up for grabs on Playlist. However, now with second win already being forced out, we did see the stealth go out too, but coming into this one, Hawkhead on that Blade Master is going to be able to not only keep Queen Fairy safe, but dish out some pressure onto Jiro, who might just tag out soon enough without his escape being still available.
And we haven't seen much of Jiro today, but hopefully this is where he gets to truly shine. And like you said before, the Kung Fu Master on both sides, it's a bit of a wild card pick. And if he manages to actually that ultimate, when it actually comes online, that's going to be incredibly tough. But now he's in a bit of a rough spot. But a mistimed assist actually, ending the aerial effect before actually managing to do too much. Now Jiro managing to heal himself back up a little bit with that Rising Dragon, which is very useful for him. He still has his escape, but unfortunately he triggers the stealth from Queen Fairy. It's going to be a bit of a rough spot here.
And we'll see if he can keep up this performance, because Jiro has managed to bounce back and get an advantage right now, especially since he forced out the stealth too, but he did use the second one for his troubles as well. And now with the flower being down, he does manage to find the flurry into that triple kick. Will signal Queen Fairy to just nope out of that situation. It's going to be Hawkit coming in instead for Team Playlist.
And Jiro staying in despite his lack of escape, managing to go through the sword shroud of Hawkit and actually avoiding the assist entirely of Yoni He, getting his own almost getting his own flank slash, but that searing slash damage is absolutely massive. Luckily, the auto tag was there to save him from it. You have to respect that damage. You cannot ignore it. Now, Luki, in a pretty good matchup, I'd say. The defense canceling knee, not quite successful. Now Hawkit in a pretty good spot. Luki's still using the defense penetration spin, so no deflects will be coming out of him for the time being. He needs to be very, very careful, especially with a legendary SS Penta. But in comes Zay with that legendary Soaring Falcon, instantly forcing out a tag out. Now Yoni He, well, being forced into a matchup that, although Luki might not always like, Luki is very confident at doing.
Will be able to stay safe for a while longer too. He has so many defensive options at the very least for now, and getting a catch onto Yoni. He's going to be really, really good. However, with the assist coming in on both sides, nobody's going to be taking too much damage as of yet. But as I say that, Hawkid a bit punished there. However, now with that tremor, is going to potentially get that persistence out of Luki. He does not have those options any longer, and once Ember Stomp times out, we might see him tag out. Yoni still healthy, still at 100%, but without his second wind available.
Yes, but even still, although he has no escapes available to him, Luki is very careful, and oh my goodness me, he just blitzed him out of the Flying Slam. I don't think I've ever seen that before, but it was definitely very timely for him. Now, Luki, with his Gust available, he doesn't have Ember Stomp, but he doesn't really care. He'll be fine. Persistence up in just about 20 seconds, a little bit less, and he does get caught out here, but with the Gust available, he'll be flying high. Typhoon just buying himself some time, and with 5 seconds left until he tags out, he's just going to wait it out and maybe get some damage while he's at it.
I mean, make sure he makes the most of it, but that will mean that Zay's gonna get a little bit damage and an easy opening here for Yoni He, even perhaps forcing out that second one early, especially now that we do see Jiro coming in instead, trying to dish out quite a bit of damage, has that fighting spirit after him. Yoni He might go down, but no. Tags out just in the nick of time, and now Zay being launched up into the air instead could be extremely dangerous, but we do see Luki finally come back in, just enough to save him. And now with the ultimate, Zay's gonna be dancing around straight some snipes him!
Wow, that was so skillfully done. He still had it! Wait, this is the other one. This is Hawkins' turn now, and oh my goodness, this is the most bombastic match we've had thus far. Jiro does get caught out by that. He will go down. It's such a strong ability. Jiro still had one assist available on him, but it's not over just yet. They're in such a very good position. There's the wallbang. No one can assist, unfortunately for Luki, but he does get a free setup off of it anyway. Forces Hawkit to tag into Yoni He, and now it immediately grabs him out of the counter, forcing him to use the Emit Frost. There's the ultimate. Decides to immediately cancel it. He's like, I'm good, fam. I ain't gonna take that today.
Wow, Team Poppy Enel now down a member, might be knocked out of the tournament here right now. Queen Fairy coming back in. Zay needs to do something here to make sure his team is still in it. Second one was expended, and now getting stuck. Queen Fairy with the assassination off of the ultimate. Zay is down and out 50%. Luki, can he be the hero? A lot of low HP targets on the side of Team Playlist, so it's not impossible, but it's gonna be such a tough ask. He does have the Fury build, is gonna stick with it too. 24% HP left. He gets the ultimate. He gets the kill onto Queen Fairy. What? That is on Luki if I've ever seen it. But now Luki getting launched up into the air. He's going to potentially be punished. Searing Strike that was going to keep him safe. Yoni, he has so much in terms of making sure he closes this one out. 2% now and gets it. Team Poppy Enel are knocked out of the tournament.
That truly is devastating. I was really... I guess maybe that might be partially why, but they did have a very good run, especially with the performance in the first preliminary tournament. I'm very happy with how they played. It's unfortunate that they went out in such a fashion. I also would have liked to see more of Jiro. he played very well for the most part, but unfortunately he was caught out immediately after using his second wind, and you cannot afford to do that when the enemy team have 2 blue buffs available, and they used it very, very well. Team Playlist actually playing around their cooldowns superbly, abusing it to the just the utmost, and ultimately they did have a better run. Unfortunately, Hawkid actually. I'm saying actually a lot because it's a little bit, it's still a bit surprising. I'm still trying to get over the little bit of shock there, but the way that Hawkid has improved over the course of this preliminary tournament, in the first few matches, it really was Yoni He doing a lot of the heavy lifting, but today Hawkid came in and actually proved that, you know, you should not underestimate him, ourselves included. The way that he knew and assessed the situation to such a degree that he could come in and actually utilize his cooldowns to their utmost. The Searing Slash, the Soaring Falcon, other way around, preferably for that insane damage boost, and that was exactly what happened. Especially buffed by the blue buff of either Queen Fairy or Yoni He. Damn, boy, that is some damage.
And it's such a surprising turn of events. I mean, yes, we knew that Team Playlist does have, on an individual level, quite a high skill ceiling, right? We knew that they're good players. They have been around for a long time, but so have Team Puppy Anil. And again, it's such a surprising turn of events, but I can only praise Playlist enough because they have stepped it up all throughout. I think even Queen Fairy made sure that he played it to a T. We did see Yoni, he's still performing as well as ever. And of course, as you said, Hawkid coming in clutch too to make sure his team has all the right stuff going for them. So with that, they will be advancing through the losers bracket. And as you said, I still can't really get over the fact that Team Papiano has been knocked out. And this was their last shot at making sure they qualify for that finals.
Yeah, it is a bit of a shame, and especially like I already mentioned, considering the performance that they had in the first preliminary tournament. But regardless, this should not dissuade them at all in any way. I feel that if anything, this will have strengthened their resolve. The way that they played today, yesterday, and in the first preliminary tournament was phenomenal. I wish them all the best of luck, and I hope to see them again in future events. But for now, again, congratulations to Team Playlist for just continually stepping it up and surprising not only ourselves but all the viewers as well. Well played to them. For now, though, Magic Warriors versus Timeout. It's gonna be interesting.
And I do believe there is a very good reason for you guys to be excited, and that's primarily because we do have Linne coming in for a Timeout, and on that Soul Fighter, we've seen how absolutely insane their damage is yesterday. Oh, yeah. Linne can definitely bring the best out of that class, and Magic Warriors, I do have to say, even considering the current circumstance they're in, they have played pretty well today, so it's going to be an interesting matchup.
Definitely. And Glacier, I do want to make a quick shout out. The way that he seems to be trying incredibly hard today. He needs to make up for any missing synergy that might be present due to extenuating circumstances. However, it's still going to be very, very challenging, especially against a team like Timeout, with the amount of damage and danger that they have present for them. That Soul Fighter as well, because of how the new Dragon Fury works, they can get off 2 Frost Storms comfortably, and maybe if they get an assist from a teammate, if they get Ice Helix off, you're dead. I'm sorry, you're not going to survive that under any circumstances. It's incredibly powerful, and the fact that they have access to that potential every 30 seconds, that is the real kicker.
And when it comes to making sure that they do send in someone to deal with the likes of Linne, who do you think Magic Warriors is going to be, or what's their best bet against someone like Linne?
Soul Fighter does probably struggle the most against Force Master, so I would expect Glacier to try to take on that task. Even still, Soul Fighter has gotten quite a bit better, so it might not be as easy as it once was, but it's actually going to be Fidgeon versus Glacier in this first match.
And we'll see KFM versus Force Master Glacier already looking to, or rather, keep up his current performance, as so far is gonna be able to stay safe with the use of that Frost Reef up into the air, but still Fidgeon dishing out quite a bit of damage. However, second wind is not available for him any longer, and now as he will get dazed up, it's gonna be Glacier's time to shine as he gets the air launch. Should be able to get even more damage come through. Fidgeon now down to about 65%. You make that lower. Second one still quite a few seconds away, and with that 27% HP now left for him, can Glacier close this one out? So far, it's going to be opting in to stay safe instead.
But he does manage to get the knockdown. Unfortunately, doesn't get the tech chase with the Rising Dragon. And Glacier, with this Ice Armor, is actually going to have enough time to get his second wind back up, and it's going to be very devastating. Even though Fidgeon does land that Flying Slam, it's an uphill battle with both escapes available on Glacier. It's going to be very, very tough for him to find an adequate opening. Even with that Searing Palm available, the Frost Burst actually triggered Fidgeon's Ice, which meant he could get out of it and initiate the aerial afterwards anyway. So this is actually looking quite good. Like I mentioned before, the flurry damage working its wonders, but now with no block available on Fidgeon, he needs to be very, very careful. He'll... Oh, no.
That's... could be it, but no, Rising Dragon is going to actually heal him back up a little bit, and he will manage to stay safe, as we did see Glacier be in range of it. And now without a second win available for both sides, can Fidgeon still find an opening? No! That is not where you want to be, but he gets the catch still. Glacier, 16% HP, you're gonna...
He doesn't have an escape anymore. Oh my goodness. Okay, Fidgeon. Fidgeon, I have several questions about what transpired in that matchup. It seemed like, actually, I don't have questions. I know exactly what happened. You see, Kung Fu Master's counter has a unique thing about it, where for the next 2 seconds afterwards, I believe it's 2 seconds, it could be a little bit shorter, but for a short time after a successful counter, they become immune to stun and daze effects, which is exactly what prevented him from getting wallbanged in that situation, I believe. So, using that, Glacier wasn't quite ready for it, and instead ended up getting iron shouldered of all things. Oh, that is unfortunate, but it's a good start for Team Timeout, especially against someone as dangerous as Glacier.
And that is going to be looking very good for them. Of course, since it's the lower bracket, it's just that much more important that both of these teams do get the win here. Next up, it is going to be another 1v1 coming our way right before we go into the tag. And now that, okay, you have that first loss on the board, if you're Magic Warriors, who do you think are you going to really send out?
Well, it's most likely going to be Intro this time around. I think they want to try to lessen the chance of any sort of... They can't be too certain of their current replacement teammate, because they haven't really had the chance to mesh with them as they have with their older teammate. It's certainly an unfortunate situation, but they're not going to let it keep them down, and they're going to play to their strengths. So I expect Intro to come out most likely on that Force Master. He loves playing it in 1v1s, and will only go Warlock for the 3v3s. And I'm probably expecting Linne from Team Timeout. It would be amazing, historic even, for me, to see a Soul Fighter win against the Force Master, but I'm getting a little bit ahead of myself here. The 3v3 is where it's all going to come down to, I think.
Well, at the very least, that is one of the strengths of Magic Warriors, having Intro be able to not only play the Warlock for his team in the tag setup, but also have the option of choosing that Force Master in the 1v1 setup. And as you said, considering that there's a good chance we will see Linne from Team Timeout, it's gonna be very good for Magic Warriors, and they have to turn this around. And once we will be eventually moving on to the 3v3 setup, do you think AJ is actually going to be sticking to that Kung Fu Master like last time?
Maybe. He's had some decent success with it so far, I think. But I would prefer to see the Destroyer from a purely compositional standpoint. However, if he's more comfortable playing the Kung Fu Master, what you're comfortable with and are good at is always going to be superior to what other people might want you to play purely for composition. If you're not comfortable playing the class, you're not going to be good at it. And so that in itself could be the deciding factor. So if he wants to play Kung Fu Master, by all means, do that. Don't jeopardize it just for the sake of having the perfect composition.
Well, it's not just that. Having that extra safety with a destroyer on your team definitely gonna help out the side to stay safe longer, because the Kung Fu Master can't really provide the same amount of support. So we'll see if that is going to be the case, because in the meantime, we will be moving on to our second 1v1, and it is indeed going to be Linne versus Intro.
Oh, this is going to be fun. Looking for the opener. The Divine Veil will prevent Linne's usual opener from coming out. The self-defense she used perfectly into the Frostum immediately. Intro, please. You can't. You have to respect that. It's so much damage and instantly launched. However, with the free stance changes are very good for the Sulfite. I was having trouble finding my words there, but now Linne, although he is stunned up, it's going to be a little bit difficult for him, especially with the insane aerial damage. He needs to be very careful, and if he's up against the wall, he's not going to be able to use his second. Well, okay. See, this is where the real issues come to fruition. Unlike Kung Fu Master, Soul Fighter block is vastly inferior, so the fact that, unfortunately, I don't think Linne ever got to use his
second one.
Oh, goodness me, the name eludes me right now, and it's really aggravating. The Chi Burst, that's the one that increases their health tremendously. I didn't see him use that. If he had used that, that might have gone quite a bit differently. Having just under 70,000 max health in the arena, where most people have on average 40-ish thousand, would definitely have made that much better. If he had managed to actually get that off, and he did have opportunities, so it is a small mistake on Linne's part, that would have gone differently. I have to applaud Intro's tenacity though for just taking the Froststorm like he doesn't even care. If Linne had crit more on the Dragon Fury, because that was a little bit, the damage was not as high as I was expecting. Of course, Dragon Fury doing vastly superior damage on a critical hit. If you don't get that, then the Froststorm is the only thing that really does the true damage, if you will. And I think that is exactly what happened for Linne. Intro, he just took it. He was like, this is fine. I'm going to get you back anyway. Just you wait and see. So, damn. The Divine Veil, of course, also reducing damage slightly. So, it's 20% less damage as well, in addition to everything else. Yeah, Intro knows his class inside and out, so definitely well played for him. And this is exactly what Magic Warriors needed, because now it all falls, as I predicted, on the 3 versus 3.
And it's going to be very important. Make sure that both of these teams get, or rather, that one of them will come out on top. But the question is which one. And with Magic Warriors now looking pretty strong, of course, Intro will be back on that Warlock for this setup instead. But on the other side, 4-team timeout as well. Linne, yes, that didn't quite go his way, but that's kind of to be expected. We've talked about how Soul Fighter isn't quite favored in that matchup, and now coming into the tag team setup instead, this is where timeout, while they have a good shot, they still need to keep up the momentum and make sure they do get the win here, because overall Magic Warriors are more experienced in terms of that particular play.
Indeed. However, that third teammate, that AJ, he's the wild card right now. We've seen him perform already today. Well, half seen, if you will, and it's a little bit, it's daunting for him. The pressure is really on to suddenly be whisked away into a team comp that you don't know, with players that you're unfamiliar with, that you don't know how they play and how they prefer to do things. Adapting on the fly is something very few people are able to do, and I'm not saying that it's impossible. It's just really challenging. That might be the thing that would undo them, if anything. So I really have to. I do not envy AJ in any way. I don't think anybody else does. It's a terrible position to be forced into. Best of luck, of course. But if Timeout are going to win, that's what they need to abuse.
And it's going to be a surprising day, considering the fact that we already saw Team Poppy Anno get knocked out. If Magic Warriors gets taken out by Team Timeout, it's going to be another surprising one. Even though, yes, as you said, AJ did come in last second for this team, I do believe it will still be somewhat of an upset. So we'll see whether or not that will be the case, as the round is good to go. Once again, we do have Team Timeout versus Magic Warriors.
Yes. And it will be AJ and Linne starting things off. Sorry, I'm just very excited about the Soul Fighter, you know? It's a very, very personal preference of mine. And Linne does get the Glacial Beam opener. There is the Chi Burst already with the huge health boost. Don't be fooled by the percentage. It's actually really, really high right now. So in a good position, the Iron Plating from Idarian, giving him an extra layer of protection. Now, AJ, in a very rough spot, actually, trying to do as much damage as he can, but Linne is very patient. AJ needs to try and be careful because his second wind isn't up. If an assist catches him out here, this might be it. However, Linne, as a Soul Fighter, Chi Burst ran out. You see that health boost all of a sudden? Yeah, that's what we're talking about. Unfortunately, tried to predict a bit too much onto AJ's cross sheath there. Not able to get too much. Gonna tag out into Fidgeon.
But that was very nicely done by AJ, making sure he stood safe during the assist while being in that aerial animation. So well done by him. Now it's going to be Glacier coming in instead for Magic Warriors, as we do see the assist on both sides. But no, we didn't see Glacier actually get the days off of that second win. So with that Frost Armor, he's going to stand tall and proud and will be safe for a while longer. But the question is for how much longer, because we do have second one available for Fidgeon, but he does get caught up by that Frostburst, and now this is the opportunity Glacier needs, and the aerial damage is good. Fighting Spirit actually coming into play here, but the retaliation on the other side will at the very least just hinder some of that damage coming through from Magic Warriors.
Yeah, Linne actually with a very clutch knockback assist. It's not often that you see a Soul Fighter actually succeed a defensive assist like that, but it was certainly very, very timely. That blue buff would have probably ended Fidgeon's life for sure. This is a rough matchup to be in. Idarian is coming in, trying to do as much damage as he can, but Glacier ultimately isn't really phased by it too much. Now back into Linne, not a matchup that he really wants to be in, especially with the suboptimal blocking abilities that Soul Fighter has. He's going to need to play out of his mind to do well here.
And we'll see whether or not he has what it takes, because second wind is already out of the picture, but he does manage to find an opportunity there. And now with the Frost Armor being up, it's going to mitigate a lot of that potential damage coming through. However, Glacier did get forced out of that situation, was also, rather the second wind was also needed. So now 10 seconds left. Will opt to stay and make sure he has that extra resource. And as he does find quite a bit of damage, this could be very dangerous. Off into the wall, Linne, though, will be able to stay safe. But the question is for how much longer, because we did see AJ coming in with the assist. Was able to get the stun off, but Linne will still be in it, and he gets the air launch. Won't be good. However, Idarian coming in for Team Timeout instead.
Oh, that was sick. Idarian just got a deflect, and I want to briefly mention Linne avoided both the Leech and the Tether Blade of intro, and managed to launch him into the air for good measure as well. So, very good on his part. He has no more tag-outs, though, so he needs to be very, very careful should he come in another time. Now, Idarian, no stranger to this matchup. I've seen him destroy plenty of Warlocks in my time. But now, as I say that, he actually does end up getting deflected. He's actually opted for the Stun Blitz as a result. Trying to get as much damage as he can onto intro, and by as much damage I mean a hecking lot, apparently. Mighty Cleave is very, very strong, and intro is forced to tag out into Glacier.
When Idarian was actually forced to use that Stone Shield as well, but Frostburst prediction, actually I do believe he caught him! The spin! Oh no! Feels bad for Idarian. As a result, Fidgeon is going to be in here for Team Timeout. And the problem is that Idarian doesn't have any other assists available. Instead, it's going to be Linne who has to be the savior here for Team Timeout. And we'll see Glacier still at 100%. Does have that Frost Sheath for now. We'll get rid of it. And even though he's at the wall, Fidgeon could be in potential danger. Veil is down as well for Glacier, but the triple kick is going to get the stun off, launching his opponent up to the air. Fidgeon, can he dish out any other damage as we do see Linne coming in? Glacier is going to be able to stay safe though, and now as Intro is going to come in instead for Magic Warriors, things should be looking pretty good for them.
Intro does have that blue buff. Fidgeon needs to be very, very cautious here. He does have the ultimate available, but he does get actually stunned by the onrush. The untappable, not quite successful. Idarian now tagged in very timely to the time distortion. Someone who can actually survive through that very, very well. And he actually avoids the initial hit of... Okay, that was just masterfully done. Idarian avoided both the initial proc and the follow-up damage of that ultimate. That was just really, really well played. Now, he's actually in a fairly good position, though he is taking a little bit of damage. Intro with no Warlock and with no defenses available. Tech Chase wasn't quite there, and the ultimate goes a little bit wide, but ultimately Intro in a rough spot here, forced to use his second wind. Idarian still with persistence, just making space now.
Well, Intro does have that leech back up and available, so perhaps looking to get a bit of damage in before he opts to tag out. So far, Darien though is going to be able to stay safe with that Seeing Strike. However, with the leech coming out, Intro didn't quite fight too much damage. So Knee coming in actually from the side of a Darien now pops him into the wall. That is not where you want to be. Intro might go down. God. He actually survives though, but that was such a close call.
Oh, that was a little bit delayed on Linne's part, but Idarian now to cancel the Kung Fu Master ultimate. People are getting much better at canceling that these days. Fidgeon actually beautifully played there. AJ is forced to use a second wind. He does have an escape available, but... well, I mean, he has a tag out available. He has no escapes, and he needs to be very careful because otherwise this is going to be...
That's it. Wow.
Damage.
Wow.
The Kung Fu Master ultimate.
I mean, Intro has to not be very happy about that one. The Kung Fu Master Ultimate just snipes him as soon as he comes in with the assist. So, unfortunate there, but it's a 2v3 situation right now. Magic Warriors desperately need the win here somehow, some way, but Fidgeon with the advantage. Second win still available, though, for AJ. He's going to look to dish out as much damage as possible, but... it's going to be tough since second one still available. No assist, no. Left from anyone else from timeouts. He needs to get the kill right here and right now.
Still Fidgeon is playing this mirror match very well. I'm still in shock from that event. I don't know what else to call it. And he does catch AJ out again. This will be a very dire situation for Glacier. Last man standing. It's against this team who just got more assists. Idarian with the wall bang from the Typhoon, Linne with the Frost Storm, and Fidgeon, who is also... where did all these Kung Fu Masters come from? For real? Hang on. That's a lot of healing. Do you know how much health that is right now? That is way too much health on Fidgeon right now. If Glacier didn't have a tough time enough, this now is basically impossible.
Now Linne looking for that revenge matchup perhaps, but not quite as fair since Glacier wasn't quite at full HP, if you will. But now catching the stun off, it's going to be the second win used on both sides. Glacier will be able to stay safe and heal back up with use of that Frost Armor, but as he said, it's just looking like it might be over for Magic Warriors. They really need to make a magic happen right now. But Glacier is in big trouble. Caught onto the wall. That is surely going to be a no. The Veil was there, but gets stopped off the Frost Burst. The Frost Sheath is going to keep him safe for a while longer. But even with the grapple coming in, second wind was used. Even with the assist coming in out of Fidgeon. However, somehow Glacier is still alive. 6% gets the air launch. Linne is gonna be caught up into the air for a while, but Glacier has to play this one out very patiently as he is only at 2%. There it is.
Oh no.
Team timeout advance.
Killed by a snowball. Well, that was quite something. For Intro especially. All around him are familiar faces. Worn out places. Worn out faces. very unfortunate to be killed by the AoE of the not even being the main target, and just everybody better be pressing their F keys right now, because that was just upsetting.
But still, congratulations for Team Timeout to make sure they do advance for the losers bracket. Remember, so much is on the line here. Team Timeout now up against Team Playlist in the losers bracket. Just looking at this one, today has been full of surprises. Team Papiano getting knocked out. Now Magic Warriors getting knocked out. I mean, we're in for a treat, Barney.
Oh, we absolutely are. And I just want to say, I'm so happy. I'm so happy that a Soul Fighter is getting this far. I will refrain from saying anything else because my curse is on the up and up these days. That was very exhilarating, and I'm really, really looking forward to what these teams have to offer to us. We're getting closer. We're getting really, really close. Just a few more matches today, few more, and 2 of them are going to be quite long. So I definitely make sure once again to have all your confectionery ready for that, because you won't want to miss a second of this.
And remember what is at stake here. Not only is there going to be opportunity for a lot of cash prizes for the finals once the 2 teams qualify, but the 2 teams that qualify also have a shot at representing Europe at the World Championship. So right now we will have soon enough that winners side finals of the winners bracket, and of course eventually see who makes it out for the losers bracket as well. But in the meantime, don't go anywhere. We'll be moving on to a 10-minute break, but once we are back, a lot of exciting action coming your way.
was kind of a dream to play esports.
Hello and welcome to the Blade and Soul Europe.
I wanted to compete in Korea. That was like my goal, in top of EU. And then I achieved that, and it was really exciting to be there.
To be honest, we didn't expect to win regionals. We were like, yo, we can actually do this.
That's what I mean, 10 out of being 10.
And it motivated us, and we like kept going, and we wanted to prove that we can stand our ground against people, right?
I just told myself I will be there one day. Looking up to good players in EU, I got better myself, got into the community and helped each other out, improved over time.
You learn more from a loss than from a win. Play to improve, not to win.
Get good, make a team, and have a great time with us.
It's a great experience.
To every player that has come this far, I have seen your commitment. I have seen your sacrifices. All of this. This is for you.
Welcome back to day 2 of the Europe second preliminary for Blade and Soul World Championship Qualification Tournament. My name's Brunch, joined by Barney, and we've had some really surprising results, and considering the fact that our next matchup in the losers bracket, now that we've narrowed it down to 4 last teams, I mean, no Poppy Anno and no Magic Warriors, Barney.
Yeah, this was absolutely unexpected. I don't think anybody could have predicted this. I think it might have been maybe like, oh, wouldn't it be funny if these two teams made it through? It would be, if it weren't also for the fact that they also played out of their minds. The fact that they are here is a testament to how actually good they are, and that's surprising, but also very, very uplifting. The fact that players that we maybe haven't seen as much of them, or that maybe don't have such a huge reputation behind them, are still able to go up against players that do fall into those categories, and they do so very well. Almost, well, I believe the word is convincingly. So definitely a bit strange considering the teams that we had before, but not at all unwelcome. And there's just so many good matches to come now. I'm really there's just so much anticipation.
And the next matchup, well, it is going to be between Team Timeout and Team Playlist. This is going to be our last 4-set mix and match matchup. After that, it's going to be only 8 sets, so plenty of exciting Blade and Soul PvP action coming your way. Remember, the 1v1s reward 1 point, whereas the 3 versus 3 setups require, or rather reward 2 points each. So it's going to be first team to get to 3 points or more to win this one, in this case here, for the 4-set mix and match, which is coming up next. But after that, it's only 8 set remaining.
And it's going to be an exhilarating 8-set as well. Could you imagine if it's so evenly matched that we end up going to the final 3 versus 3? Oh, dream big.
And we gotta also remember, of course, everyone, what all these players are fighting for, because it's not only going to be a potential grabs for cash prizes, but also the opportunity to represent Europe for the World Championship, of course, which will be going on in the finals tournament on August 26th over in Leicester at the ESL UK studio. We already know from the first preliminary tournament, we have Goblin Spiders and Team Bai locking in their 2 respective spots, but we will find out soon enough today who will be joining them in that finals tournament. And just like you've seen on your screen, it is Team Timeout versus Team Playlist. And while in that last matchup that we just saw, Team Timeout played really well, I do have to say, I think Playlist right now, with every member stepping it up a notch from yesterday, would have the advantage.
It's really hard to say. I mean, Playlists showed that it's not just Yoni He +2, it is Yoni He, Queen Fairy, and Hawkid as a whole cohesive unit, and they do so very well together. especially with the way that Hawkid played in that 3 versus 3 a little bit earlier today. If you missed that, then be sure to watch the VOD because it was really a sight to behold. That sort of proving of oneself, of one's ability to everybody else, is exactly the sort of thing that they needed. And in part as well, I think it's other teams were underestimating them. Because these are names that you see on occasion on the ladder, maybe might bump into them a few times, but this is a team game, and where the most points are in the 3 versus 3s. That's where it all comes down to, and both these teams have shown that they have really stepped it up. So all I can say is I'm really looking forward to it.
And the first matchup, it will be between a Soul Fighter and a Kung Fu Master, Linne versus Yoni He. And both of these players, perhaps the MVPs of their respective teams, you could argue. We'll see how they will match up against each other. What are your expectations, Barney?
It's gonna be rough. It's gonna be rough for Yoni He if Linne manages to play this correctly. But yeah. We'll have to wait and see how exactly it ends up turning out. However, the opener is already in favor of Linne, unfortunately, for Yoni He. So he's going to have to be very careful because the damage that can come out of Soul Fighter, as you can see, is absolutely ridiculous. You are holding on to that second wind for far too long, friendo. And now Linne actually manages to avoid the Firestorm kick with the iframe from his counter, avoids the Flying Slam as well. He's stunned, but he's fine. The amount of health he has is absolutely insane. Oh, goodness me. Now he gets caught out again. This is going to be very rough. In fact, I think a few more snowballs are going to seal the deal. He tried to finish it in style with the displace. Now on 4% health. Will this come back to bite him? It absolutely might. But he does still have the health boost, so he'll be okay for the time being. But he needs to be so very careful. 5% health on Yoni He. This needs to be grapple. Okay, that is nothing you ever see. Just goes for the guaranteed stuff. Nothing too fancy. Heals himself up as well. The second wind available now for him. The self-defense, she avoids the second wind from Yoni He now. Now he needs to be very careful. Both sides need to be exceptionally careful. Howling Blast, the thing that could have made this incredible, doesn't land, but the ground ripple does. That 5-meter radius is absolutely amazing for a stun as well. An unblockable stun every 36 seconds. Usually the Howling Blast is the thing that people need to look out for now. And Yoni He did avoid it. But you can't neglect the rest of Soul Fighter's kit. And this is where Soul Fighter really wins out in these types of matchups. The war of attrition is unlike any other, with 2 backdashes that send you away a whopping 24 meters. Yeah, that's, well, actually, okay, 18 meters, 24 if you add the other dashes in, but it's a long distance. I think the only person that's better at running away is Gunslinger. And with the additional impact of every minute being able to heal themselves up for 20% of their max health, and also increase it further, that's really devastating. Especially if they just manage to get off one of their upgraded, upgraded abilities, either Ice Helix or King Strike. But no one uses Earth apparently, which is a shame because I really like it. If you get that, you get a buff, and if you use Chi Burst during that buff, you recover 40% of your max health. Oh dear, that's a lot of healing.
But to Yoni He's credit, he almost managed to punish, in this case, of course, Linne, since he tried to be flashy, but was not meant to be. However, in the next 1v1, it is going to be Queen Fairy up against Fidget. So Kung Fu Master versus Sin. This is definitely an opportunity here for Team Timeout to bring this one back and make it a 1-1 scoreline.
Yeah, but with the tools that Kung Fu Master has gained over the years, it's not anywhere near as one-sided as it once was, especially if Fidget is very adept at landing those Gale Fists. Queen Fairy is going to have a really rough time. Being stunned for free out of stealth every single time is really annoying, and it's really hard to miss Gale Fist because it's a 4x8 meter area. It's like if you miss it, that's more impressive than landing it. So definitely he needs to be very careful about that, needs to play around it. If he manages to avoid all that, then it should be easy pickings for him. But the Kung Fu Master does actually have a lot of tools to get the Assassin out of Stealth. Gale Fist, as I already mentioned. Rising Dragon as well, an 8-meter radius, unblockable pull-in stun. That's guaranteed to get him out. As well as just, you know, leg sweep, Comet Strike if he's feeling really daring. I think only Savage has done that before. But if you manage to do it, well, props to you, mate. So definitely looking forward to that.
And we'll find out whether or not Team Timeout will get that second, or rather the first win in this matchup, or if Team Playlist surprises and get a second one in. Because remember, while yes, it's not going to be over just yet, if they win the next 1v1, they're going to have so much leeway going into the 3 versus 3. Even if Team Timeout take the win there, it's not really going to matter. You'll still have 2-2 in terms of those points.
My nose is really itchy. I have really bad hay fever. I need to. I'm sorry. Sorry for making faces, but it's. I hate summer. I'm a child of winter, as you can probably plainly see. So you know, while we're waiting for the teams to sort themselves out a bit, well, how was your day, Brunch?
Thought we were going to talk to us a little bit about more of that spicy inside, but thank you for asking. It's actually been pretty wonderful outside of the exhausting heat, I guess. But still, as you can see in the bracket, well, in the winner's side, we have teams like Bad Intentions, teams like Positive Vibes. Not really surprising. Both of these teams have been touted as to being one of the best, perhaps even in the West, especially with Bad Intentions, as proven in the past. But now, as we will have the lower side of the bracket have a lot of surprises for us in store, with Team Timeout already playing so well. If they keep up this momentum, I think they will have a good shot up against whoever gets knocked down to the losers bracket as well.
Entirely possible. I do have to say that I'm very very pleased with how the Soul Fighter play is happening, with with the amazing abilities that Soul Fighter possesses and the ability to now use them whenever they please. Their gameplay has been improved substantially with the prospect of being able to switch stances, well, at will. Then that means that they no longer are locked out of any stance at any given time, which means, well, great things for them and really bad things for their opponent. It means that launching them into the air, they can switch to force stance without wasting a backstep. They can do their aerial damage, switch back into Kung Fu stance, use the Falling Star on you to end it, give you a knockdown while they're at it as well, and then initiate ground game afterwards. Truly, their gameplay has been upped to the next level, and I think a lot of people are still in the dark about how good it is.
And looking at the future, of course, with teams like Bad Intentions and Positive Vibes facing off against each other, compositionally, of course, Bad Intentions has the god comp in the current meta, what's to be understood. Perhaps you can argue that a gunslinger might be better than the assassin, but Ryuki has proven that he can really come in clutch for his team time and time again. And their performance in the second preliminary tournament is definitely much better to what the first preliminary tournament was. And now, as they had a lot of spare time to make sure they studied their opponents even further, having won so many of their matches yesterday flawlessly at that too, are gonna be hungry for that spot secure, of course.
It's gonna be tough for the remaining teams. I think with the amount of skill and reputation that are behind these teams, there's not only the pressure to perform anyway, but there is the psychological pressure of whom you're facing. If you're facing someone like Bad Intentions, then it's, well, you need to be sure that you're capable of beating them under normal circumstances, because with tournament pressure, it's gonna be really really hard. But you know, an example I want to bring about is the Battle Brawl earlier this year in March, with how when that was the first time Pieb actually appeared in a tournament setting. And for the first day, he was kind of he was very, very anxious. He was very nervous about performing to his best. And even though everybody knew that on the ladder he was just absolutely, absurdly powerful and a force to be reckoned with, he didn't quite show that on the first day. And in the second day, he decided, you know what? This isn't that bad. We had some fried chicken. He sort of sat down, relaxed a bit, and then proceeded to wipe the floor with basically everyone. So yeah, it's gonna be hard for that adjustment to happen for the first time. But once it does happen, it's not that difficult, I think. Then again, I'm the one behind the desk here and not behind the computer, so.
And I think an important factor is that it's not only that it was much easier for him after that, it's pretty much the fact that they managed to even get a flawless win in the first preliminary tournament. They're still looking as hot as ever, that is, for Team Goblin Spiders, where Pieb is playing. And considering that we see teams like Bad Intentions also bounce back, it's going to be very interesting to see them match up again. Traditionally, it kept going in favor of Bad Intentions, but with Goblin Spiders now, as of late this year, stepping it up continuously, they did manage to overtake them quite a few times, and it's not going to be as easy call for that as well. So outside of that, when you look at Team Bai, the second team to qualify for the finals tournament, we saw how good they really can be in the 3 versus 3 setup with players like Colorize on the Destroyer being pretty much the linchpin, I think, of that team. Of course, you also have Ace 5, one of the best, if not the best, gunslingers in Europe, definitely being very lethal on his particular class choice. So with that extra time now looking at this tournament as well, what are your expectations looking even further to those finals?
Well, it's going to be hard to say. I mean, any one of these teams here could also come on into the and be the final 2 teams. But between exclusively Goblin Spiders and Team Bai, we've had them actually fight against one another before, and it was very, very close. And it was quite a sight to behold. So if they manage to repeat that, it's going to be quite difficult to say. The God Comp does belong to Team Bai, however. So if they manage to play to their strengths, then they will be able to probably beat out Goblin Spiders. But it's really hard to say because the team synergy is truly, truly amazing for both teams. It's one of those cases where you have to look at the players more than the classes.
And even though we've been going on a tangent right now, we do finally have the next match ready. Remember, it is Timeout versus Playlist. It is going to be Fidgeon versus Queen Fairy. So Assassin versus KFM. We saw, or rather seen, how many advantages the Assassin really can have in this matchup. But just like you talked about previously, Barney, there's a lot of opportunities now for the Kung Fu Master to really catch the Assassins out of stealth. So we'll see how Fidgeon's gonna fare in this one, as the round should be starting out soon enough.
Yes, and it will be Queen Fairy versus Fidgeon, as we mentioned what seems to be an eternity ago, because it took this long to get them ready. Haha! But looking for a decent opener. The knockdown is available onto Fidgeon, but he does manage to get a good get up. The stealth already forced out of Queen Fairy. Fidgeon taking a little bit of damage. Okay, a bit more than a little. Quite a bit of damage, actually. 53% on him now. With the flower is down for Queen Fairy. However, if Fidgeon manages to get a decent opener here onto him, then it will be really rather devastating. However, forcing the flower out already, Fidgeon, although no second wind, and okay, I was about to say, could have been good, but now with the Bombard and the Lightning Strike and the Close Shave, it's almost enough. The single basic Mist Slash to finish him off.
About that potential advantage wasn't quite there, and the bigger problem for him was also the fact that Stealth was coming back off cooldown, so even if he got a catch onto Queen Fairy, I don't believe it would have amounted to a kill there. So, or at the very least, considering the HP left on Queen Fairy. So really well done. This will make sure we get that 1-1 scoreline right now. So the winner of the next 3 versus 3 set will be advancing through that losers bracket and just be one step away from acquiring that all too important slot for those finals.
Yes, now, of course, the 3 versus 3 being the last pivotal point between these two teams. It's a bit of a shame the way that 1 versus 1 transpired. I think that was the quickest one we've had today. Or maybe even... I think even the one yesterday wasn't as quick as that. But it was very well played by Queen Fairy, the way that he managed to avoid everything. And of course, utilizing the fact that Lotus Kick is so quick, it's almost undodgeable. I think you can, maybe, but to do so would require a connection that only the gods possess. So that definitely was really unfortunate for Fidge, and if he managed to counter that, that might have gone a bit differently. But as you said, the stealth would have been coming up beforehand anyway, so well played for Queen Fairy for managing his cooldowns very efficiently. Now, the 3 versus 3, this is where things get spicy.
And in terms of expectations, we will most likely see on the side of playlist Queen Fairy be the starter on that assassin, which also, by the way, he is the captain of the team, so I do think that could be important. And if you don't know him through the name Queen Fairy, you definitely should know him under True Sedator. He has been in the PvP scene for quite a while, especially on ladders, so it's really nice to see him perform to this level, especially alongside the rest of his team. Everyone really stepping it up for the side of Team Playlist. But on the other side of Timeout, now that you will most likely see that assassin be the starter, who are you going to send out, Barney?
Maybe the Soul Fighter. I think Soul Fighter has some decent ways of dealing with that assassin, mostly in the Earth build, however. Ripple Punch, the defense penetration one, it only costs 1 focus per cast. It's 16 meters in length, 2 in width. It's very, very good at catching out assassins out of stealth, because it also, well, it pierces defenses, which means that the assassin has no opportunity, to actually evade that attack. And so getting Queen Fairy out of stealth is going to be very important in actually making this 3 versus 3.
And we'll see who can get that first advantage in the matchup. As you said, it is going to be Linne, but it's Yoni He for the side of playlist instead. So something I didn't consider as much to be the case, but could be favoring them. We'll see whether or not that will be the case. So far, Linne is going to be able to stay safe as well, looking for those opportunities to get a catch off, but with the assist coming through on both sides, very quick work on both ends to make sure they do stay safe for now at the very least.
Yes, Linne is still in a comfortable position with the health boost at least. Still needs to be careful because this is a lot of damage. Even with the health boost, luckily it's keeping him relatively healthy. After tagging out, look at that, just over 50%, and he's going to recover a little bit even more afterwards. So now Darian comes in, doesn't quite get the drag, but this isn't a matchup that a lot of destroyers actually enjoy, especially, well, because of that, the instant gap close into the leg sweep, but the instant axe sweep into upward block, and the persistence, meaning that assist was really rather fruitless.
And now with the assist coming in instead from the side of Team Timeout, they're going to be looking forward to dish out. But if it got a bit of damage, but Yunihi will manage to stay safe, who, by the way, has done such a great job during the neutral so far, but it is going to be the Kung Fu Master mirror matchup instead. And now coming in with that second win being used by Yonihi. We'll see him launch his opponent into the air, tags out instead Queen Fairy to come in for Team Playlist. And with the assist from the side of Darian, it's not going to be too fruitful either. So we'll see whether or not that's going to be a potential issue. Both defensive options available still, of course, for Queen Fairy as he gets the catch, but no follow-up for now.
Yes, missing the Lotus Kick that time, which is very pivotal for him. However, now Fidgen stunned by the spinal tap. Lots of damage from the bombard. He needs to be very, very cautious. That landmine has such a huge radius. You need to be very, very careful about it. But now, forcing stealth out of Queen Fairy, his flower is down, and Fidgen immediately has to tag into Linne, who hopefully... there it is. There's the Ripple Punch I wanted. And now he needs to... Ooh, actually... a bit of preemptive usage of that flower. Queen Fairy, no escapes onto him. Linne only got a single King Fist off. No Dragon Fury available for him now. And Queen Fairy will get away with their life. Very, very, well, optimal.
When now Yoni He, very good potential setup coming in for him, but even with the assist from the side of Playlist, not really going to be able to catch Linne for now. However, as I say that, he does get the stun off, forces Darian to come into play, but well, he does keep his teammates safe. We'll see. Linne still look for an opening. So far, though, unsuccessful.
Yeah, Linne really had nothing left there, having already used his main abilities there. He needed to tag out into Fidgen. However, this isn't a really good position. Okay, that's a bad time to grapple, I'm afraid. That was that could have been much worse, given the circumstances, but it wasn't too bad. Now, that instant King Fist, you can never count out how much damage that's going to do. Fidgen now, although it looked like his health went down, he actually got a bit of a health boost there from his teammate before leaving the arena. So he should be okay, but he still needs to be very, very cautious. He still only has a second win. Comet Strike went wide. Unlucky, mate. Really have to be careful from that bombard.
And Queen Fairy, we've seen how dangerous he really can be on that assassin. Now still having both of those defensive options, will be up against Adarian instead, who is at max health. Pretty much very close to it. Does have both of those defensive options for himself as well, but does get caught off. And now with the assist coming through, that's going to be quite a bit of damage. The PvE variant from the side of Yoni He and trying to land that flying slam will not be successful, but it did at the very least force out quite a bit out of Adarian.
But Queen Fairy's playing this so beautifully. Nah, you missed that. You were close. If you had gone that would have definitely put the match in their favor. But as of now, could be anyone's game. Linne, of course, still at full health with the stall potential of the soul fight. Okay. Get deflected, mate. With only stealth available, no flower. A single opening here could be what they need. He catches him again. Oh no, this could be devastating. However, Adarian not risking it too much. He knows about the danger of that. What am I watching? What? My eyes. My eyes. That was an interesting thing, but okay, there's the Soaring Falcon into the immediate Searing Slash. Yeah, goodbye, Fidgen. Good night.
The old Fiesta, in the end, it is going to be Hawked with that first blood. And this 3 versus 3 now looking to dish out even more damage onto Linne this time around. And considering how low even Adarian is, and now beautiful follow-up actually coming through by Hawked, just spamming those quite a bit. But we'll see if he can keep it up so far. Looking hot, but Linne with his respective ultimate, those ticks going through. Well, that's a reset.
That's fine. And the best thing is he's going to get it up probably before the end of this match as well if it goes to time. But Hawked there, all his hard work undone. And we can't really diss the Pierce too much because it did do quite a bit of damage after all. So, yeah, but now the unblockable Ripple Punches, they're going to be stopped by the Sword Shroud for the time being. But Linne needs to be very, very careful here because otherwise he's going to be in a very, very rough spot. Especially since Searing Slash is up, which also means that the Soaring Falcon is going to be up. And Linne, he's just taking this damage. I don't know why. In comes the Kung Fu Master, finally using his second win, deciding, yeah, now might be a good time. But he's still in it. He could still do this with the amount of damage that can come out. He needs to be very, very careful. If it goes to time, he'll heal it off, but Queen Fairy now in a very dominant position. Linne with no escapes available. This is looking like it might be it. A singular bombard to finish him off, and Adarian now in a really bad spot.
And that's going to be such a tough ask of him. 35% now is going to be able to heal up quite a bit with the use of that Stone Shield. However, this is going to be made even more difficult because in 15 seconds, we'll see Team Playlist get 1 extra interference chance. So now that is something they definitely need for the side of timeout, that parry. And now we'll see with that easy setup onto Queen Fairy, Adarian dishing out quite a bit of damage. But as I've said, those interference chances are coming into play, and those will be all too poor. But actually, what? No, not like this. That was so unfortunate for Queen Fairy, but now with the assist coming out of Yoni He, Fighting Spirit was popped as well. But Gus is there, catching off Queen Fairy. He might go down, but no, gets saved again. And the ultimate coming out of the Blade Master instead is going to be able to dish out quite a bit of damage, but Queen Fairy finally falls. Adarian, I don't think he can do it, but let's see. The stun lands, no escape available, and Yonihi with the finish.
That perfect execution to finish the match off, but also that swap was questionable at best. It didn't matter either way. Very well played by them. I can only say, you know, good luck for the following matches that you're gonna have playlist, because regardless of who loses this next match between Bad Intentions and Positive Vibes, it's gonna be tough. It's gonna be really, really tough. So best of luck, and on to the next match, I guess.
And it's still well played. 2-team timeout to make sure that they did get this far. They had tough opponents at that too, and as I said, definitely looking forward to seeing more out of them in the future. They've shown that the potential is there, but with extra time, with practice, we'll see what they'll be able to do. But on the other side, of course, congratulations to Team Playlist. A lot is on the line here, as they will get one step closer towards securing themselves a spot for the finals, which will be going on at the ESL studio in the UK in Leicester on the 26th of August. They'll be having a shot at not only cash prizes, but also the chance to represent Europe at the World Championship. But till then, Barney, we have our winners bracket finals up our hands.
Ooh, and this is going to be the long form set, I believe, with 2-1 versus 1s and 3v3, 2-1 versus 1s and 3-3v3s. Because we need more action, and with the teams that are going to be playing, it's not going to be upsetting in any way, shape, or form. With the amount of pressure on the line, this is both unfortunate because you have to win more, but for the people who are maybe less confident, it is also a safety net. So having that available to you, especially in this circumstance, it's not you know, unfavorable in any way. People would probably prefer to have that, but it's reserved for only the most epic of matches. And I say this because I also really hope that it's going to be ultimate epic matches. Otherwise, it's going to be a bit of an anticlimax.
Well, the interesting thing looking at the 1v1 choices so far between these two teams, we have a lot of classic matchups. It's gonna be Ryuki versus Antrax. I mean, whatever, if you guys watch Ryuki's stream, it's always Antrax sniping him a ladder when we all know Ryuki loves his range classes matchups. But second up, it's gonna be a best friends matchup actually between Tenna and Cymex. That's gonna be very interesting to watch as well. And of course, once we get to that 3 versus 3 setup, Bad Intentions can really get to show us how their team synergy can come into play and how their respective team composition can get themselves an advantage. But on the other side, of course, Positive Vibes coming in today have been looking strong as well.
Yeah, that matchup though, I mean, I have hay fever, so I'm biased against Flowers anyway. But Tenna, I think if Cymex plays this correctly, he's gonna hate Sunflowers for the rest of his life. So especially since this is one of the matchups that Tenna himself has said he doesn't really like too much. The summoner has ways of dealing with it because of the incredibly short cooldown of Petal Storm. They are very safe against the dimensional Savos that can come out of the Warlock, as well as also being able to heal up a lot, sustain out, and avoid, with their party protection iframe, avoid the likes of Imprison, which is usually an unblockable daze that is absolutely upsetting to be hit by because it guarantees a setup no matter what happens to you.
But of course, until then, it will be Ryuki versus Antrax first, and this is definitely an opportunity for the side of Positive Vibes to pick up a win. It's not going to be easy, though. Of course, Ryuki has been absolutely insane, especially in that matchup versus Force Master. I mean, talk about a comeback. That 2% HP comeback was insane. So we'll see what will happen as the first round of the Winners Bracket Finals is on our screen right now.
Yes, looking for an opener there, trying to maybe bait out a deflect with the Firestorm. However, unsuccessful. Antrax taking a huge amount of damage from that Bombard. Never mind. Never mind. That's Force Master for you. Don't worry. Ryuki almost stuck against the wall. However, the Force Blast gave him an opportunity to use his flower. Antrax now still looking very good. The Ice Mine actually goes wide. That could have been a very important setup. Ryuki now, with no escapes available for him, he's going to have to play very, very carefully because Antrax, with both of his escapes, he can do a lot. And Antrax will have Phantom Grip up before Ryuki has either his stealth or his flower. And oh, this is the worst possible scenario. There's the Force Blast, the Dual Dragons. Oh my goodness, gravy! Up into the air, back up into the air, launched into the wall. Oh my! Absolute destruction.
I mean, I don't think there's a better time to describe that moment other than just melted, absolutely melted. Antrax, knowing exactly the position he was in, beautiful execution, just makes such quick work of Ryuki. And that was the big issue. Once both of those defensive options were out of the table, not much you can do in that case.
That was... that made me sweat a little bit. I think I need to help myself dry a bit after that. That was the second quickest 1v1 we've had today, and what a convincing way to start out the match for positive vibes. Ooh, now it's
spicy barbecue.
It's very, very spicy barbecue, slightly chilled, blanch at first, and then steam it a little bit. For anybody that cooks, that is I got you, fam. I cook too occasionally, but I'm usually too lazy to do it. Anyway, Antrax there was cooking up, but I don't know where I'm going with this analogy. On to the next thing. Kind of a Cymex. Like we briefly mentioned, the Sunflower spam, it's going to be real, and without the need to worry about being deflected at all, that part of Tenna's kit is going to be rendered essentially useless. In addition to the fact that something that a lot of people don't usually pay attention to and that often forget is whenever a block has a parry window, a deflect window, if anything pierces deflect, it'll go right through. It doesn't get blocked, it just goes right through. So Cymex could end up doing quite a lot of damage here without Tenna even realizing. The Pedal Storm is already down. Already the stealth is procced for Cymex in a good spot. And though the Dragon Helix does go through, it doesn't matter. He's healing it back already. Thrall is up for both cases. Into the sky! I agree! That's the stakes that this match carries with it. And Cymex definitely needs to be careful here. If he gets insta-launched without Pedal Storm available, it's going to be very, very grim for him. But Tenna, he needs to be so careful. Even if Cymex is launched, the Dragon Helix does hurt quite a bit, especially against airborne targets. But this is a battle of attrition for Tenna.
When he does have that leech available, but now Cymex in a good opportunity, in a good spot to potentially make sure that he stays alive and gets the advantage in his favor instead, as he's going to be able to heal up. Tenna's HP is going to disappear instead. Positive vibes potentially picking up a 2-0 lead, and there it is. Cymex coming out on top of this best friends matchup.
Woo! Like I said, Tenna's gonna hate sunflowers for some time to come. And what I was briefly mentioning just before the match began, that is that deflect window actually working against you. For things that can get deflected, that don't pierce parry, it's amazing because it means that it's too risky to try to go for it. But if you have anything that does pierce parry, for that half a second that the deflect window is active for Quell, you have free reign. You can just throw out sunflowers, and Tenna can't actually do anything about it unless he also has Bastion up. And Cymex abused that really, really well, and he actually didn't use Pedal Storm on cooldown. I know it's cooldown. It's very short. He held it on for every single time Tenna began to initiate on him. So Cymex played that to a T. That was brilliantly done. And now, with a 2-0 lead, they're going to be sitting pretty comfortably here.
And in the next one, it will be at the very least a 3 versus 3 setup. So this is going to give Bad Intentions the opportunity to equalize things, make it a 2-2 score. But still, got to commend positive vibes so far on point when they're 1v1s. Of course, you can argue whether or not the matchups were favoring their side, but still very well played. And now, as we will be going on to that 3 versus 3, we'll most likely see Ryuki opening it up for Bad Intentions. But what are your expectations for Positive Vibes and the matchup overall?
Well, Tenna probably doesn't want to start off. Tenna is probably the go-to pick for any quote-unquote meta comp where there is another Warlock, because whoever gets the opener in that Warlock mirror will usually have a really, really decent lead in that matchup. For this, they probably want to save Tenna for that time distortion. They need that reset, and so it will probably still be Ryuki to lead the charge. Having the only the only other class other than Force Master whose 2 escapes can be reset by time distortion. That's going to be incredibly useful, resetting both the flower and stealth. You're going to want to do that, especially against a team like Positive Vibes, especially against the sheer destruction that they can offer. And even still, Positive Vibes have a Force Master. So wallbang is absolutely possible, and if you're stuck in that, it doesn't matter if you have your escapes up. If it's done correctly, you can't escape.
Well, when you're talking about the danger of the wallbang, I think it's worth mentioning what Bad Intentions bring to the table with someone like Mr. B. And we've seen so many times Ryuki coming in with the fighting spirit on those assists to make sure they make quick work of their opponents in that situation. And not only that, what I like out of them is how they really play around making even the Fury build, the Shadow build for B in securing those kills as well in combination with Ryuki. So we'll see whether or not that will be the deciding factor in this case. Tenna has had somewhat of a support role, of course, with those resets, especially making sure that Ryuki can't stall things out for such a long time, and that overall Bad Intentions as a team have advantages when it comes to those resources, not only in the form of the cooldowns, but also when it comes to tag outs and assists.
Oh yes, definitely. However, it should be noted, of course, that the burst windows for both of these teams are very different. Very, very different. And so playing around, timing both your windows and timing against the opponent's windows is going to be a little bit challenging. Brother Bill can burst every 30 seconds because of the lightning draw changes, or even shorter, every 18 seconds if he opts for the for the patented wind build. That multi-slash is really, really good. So definitely that could be a thing coming out. Antrax, well, he's a Force Master. All he needs is to have both a Fire Orbit and Ice Orbit, and he has dual dragons available, which, as we've seen many times today and yesterday, is really, really strong. So Cymex as well with the bees and the blue petal toss. For me, it seems Positive Vibes has a much more consistent damage lineup. Their burst phases are much closer together and can be made much more effective. Whereas on the side of Bad Intentions, their burst windows are much more limited. Fighting Spirit is only up every 1.5 minutes. And even then, it might not be used that frequently because you need a setup in order to actually utilize it to its fullest. And as well, Typhoon having a 45-second cooldown, and that also relies on Mr. B already being in the match. It's much harder to orchestrate a successful coup. And what coup? What is this, the French War now? No. Okay. I don't know where that word came from. I meant to say that it would be difficult to arrange a successful attempt on their lives.
There you go.
I'm not doing it on purpose.
It's also, I think, worth noted that when you have someone like or those classes like the Summoner, and like we've seen, especially with Force Masters today, plenty of already, they can stall for such a long time. They have so many tools to make sure that happens. Brother Bill has been really, really good when it comes to making sure that his synergy is on point, especially with Antrax. So I expect to see a lot of plays coming out of those two in particular, but we'll find out what will be the case as the matchup is ready and good to go. Winners bracket finals once again, Team Bad Intentions versus Positive Vibes. It's actually going to be Tenna versus Cymex to start it out, that rematch for now.
Yeah, not sure about Tenna actually coming into this one, because it's on the back foot no matter what. And already it's looking to be quite bad. Cymex already anticipating this, coming out with the proper resist Petal Storm, not the Petal Storm toss, and with the Sunflower. It's almost like he knew. Like he is a best friend material. Tenor, already such low health, forcing out an assist out of Mr. B, who also isn't really getting too much onto Cymex. And Tenor's Tether Blade goes immediately into the Sunflower. You don't want that. You absolutely do not want to hit into the Sea Trout because it's so strong. It gives them everything they want. But now Cymex gets guard broken. No Petal Storm available. He tags out into... Excuse me, what was that? Brother Bill almost instantly dies.
Mini heart attack.
Oh my goodness, luckily for him, he is still a Blade Dancer, has plenty of resist, plenty of ways to heal. Now Antrex getting the same treatment. What is happening? What is happening in this fight? It was looking so good at the start. Luckily, Frostburst is there to deny Mr. B that safety from Ember Stomp and gets a free Phantom Grip off of the setup, forcing out a Gust as well.
Oh, you fought. Bad intentions were down and out potentially, but nope. Looking strong. Now, we do see Mr. B, however, we use both of his defensives, so with the assist coming through, the resets will not be there, so Ryuki coming in back into the arena versus Antrex Frost Armor preemptively to mitigate an opening for Ryuki. However, if he can find any catches afterwards, it's going to be looking good, but it's going to be Antrex who gets it instead.
Yes, and he's already in a good spot. He has his second win available. He's forced to use it. Frostburst cancelled. He needs to get out of there as quickly as he can. Execute, not actually hitting anybody. Luckily, Brother Bill was there with his own resist and actually healed himself up quite nicely. So now, Brother Bill gets tagged back in, still with his escape, still with Flock of Blades, should that ever be useful, which it might be against Mr. P. Doesn't want to get hit by any bombards whatsoever. The body protection stealth from Ryuki not successful. The 5-point strike does land, and so does the Soaring Falcon, amazingly. Now the lightning draw, getting some good damage, avoids the stealth, the blind from him, but gets swapped anyway. Now Brother Bill in a bit of a rough spot, but Antrex is there to help him.
One actually gets the launch onto Mr. B, so
looking
good, especially now that the bees are in to play. Mr. B will manage to at the very least stay alive. We did see Tenna come back in, but this is the level of it. Okay, so I blinked and I didn't notice he is still running that Fury build. So, Brother Bill, goodbye.
Bye-bye.
Go back. You know, relax, spectate the match. Antrex, same for you. Cymex, the last member right now for positive vibes. Bad intentions, hungry for that 2 points here in this 3 versus 3 setup. Tenna, with that Bastion still available, is going to be able to stay safe. We actually see Ryuki come in instead, though. So, bad intentions, really want to win, really want to play it safe. Instead, will be Mr. B coming in with the save again, but Cymex being such a nuisance here for bad intentions.
Yeah, there was some nervous laughter in that exchange there, but Cymex not using the build that he probably would have liked to. However, that doesn't mean that he's down and out. He still has his escape available, but as I say that, immediately forced to use it. And dazed, no escapes available for him. This is probably going to be it. No, okay, that was intentional. Setting him up for Mr. B, and Ryuki comes in to try and style on his opponent, I guess, but Pile Driver Lightning Strike will be enough, and amazingly, literally 1% health, and Cymex is somehow still alive.
And not
as
for
I
long.
say that.
Mr. B having a word right there, and with that, we are back at a 2-2 scoreline, and this is again the winners bracket finals. So much on the line here for both of these teams. The one to win here is gonna get his spots, or their respective spot secured for those finals, which will be going on at the 26th, where they will not only get cash prizes but also perhaps represent Europe at the World Championship. So right now, it's been really spicy. Next up, we will be moving back to that 1v1 setup, but it's definitely a good time here in the winner's side.
But it is a bit risky to. No, it's fine. I'm exhausted as well. My goodness, it's so hot here. Send help. These matches, man, they really quench. Not quench. The other one, the opposite of quench. The literal opposite of quench. So with how these matches have been going so far, the 1 versus 1s seem to be going in favor of Positive Vibes quite heavily. But those 3 versus 3s, execute. It is a skill that exists, and it's really good.
And we will potentially see more of it right now because the third 1v1 will be between Mr. B and Brother Bill. Those spin classes matching up against each other. Blade Dancer versus Destroyer, and we'll perhaps get Bad Intentions the actual lead in the series right now. We'll be interested to see whether or not that will be the case because match is ready to go. Barney is gonna keep on getting crazier and crazier.
Oh, I wouldn't expect anything less. But now, Bill getting a Soaring Falcon open onto B. Very, very good opener for him. The Typhoon used fruitlessly onto Brother Bill because he does, in fact, have that Guardian Tempest up. And now into the Sword Shroud as well. Oh, caught you sleeping. 5-point strike. Really good. Lightning Draw. Oh, actually, no. He decides to save it and go for the double aerial as well. Now it's going to happen. There it is. It's Wind Slash. It's Wind Slash. Okay, we got memes. We got memes, lads. It's happening. Brother Bill needs to be very careful, though, because although this build is very strong, he needs to remember who he's fighting, and he's still holding on to his second win. I don't know why. 20% health.
Oh, man. Brother Bill not down and out just yet. It's going to be extremely difficult. Gets the pull off of the dual strike into the take flight. So Mr. B is going to be taking a little bit more punishment right now, but persistence is still available. So after this grab, we'll see whether or not Brother Bill can keep up the pressure because Gust will be available soon enough too. But with it actually, it does so much damage. But in return, Brother Bill, no escape means that B will be securing himself the win.
Yeah, Mr. B caught Bill sleeping that second time through the drag preemptively, and the tech chasing with drag is actually a little bit difficult. It's hard to get used to, but definitely once you are used to it, it's very, very efficient. It's a 3-second daze, which is plenty of time to let Mighty Cleave do 75% of its damage, which is a lot, by the way. That is a huge, huge amount of damage. Now, Mr. B actually leading the charge for Bad Intentions with 3 points to 2. It's gonna be pretty tough goings here. They've sort of reminded them that you shouldn't get too cocky, I feel, and Positive Vibes especially need to really, really try and get those 3 versus 3s because there are only going to be more and more of them as time goes on.
And next up, it's interesting to note that in the fourth 1v1, both teams have the opportunity to send in anyone from their side to represent their respective team. And for Bad Intentions, it's going to be their team captain. It's actually Tenna. Whereas for Positive Vibes, they'll be running that Force Master in Antrix instead. And while we've seen the Warlock v Summoner matchup, what is going to be your opinion about this one?
It's a bit challenging, I think, for both sides, especially since that thing that Antrax is very good at doing today, which is deflecting with Firestorm. That's not going to be possible because everything just sort of ignores it. But he might be able to use it offensively. We've seen how he just decimated Ryuki. Let's see if he manages to pull off much the same here and equalize the field.
They really need this one. Positive Vibes now under a lot more pressure. It's going to be Antrax still taking quite a bit of damage even through that veil. We'll stay safe for a while longer, but Bad Intentions here. Tenna not really stepping it down just yet. It's gonna be that Frost Sheaf timing out. So with the second one still available, Antrax should be able to stay safe, but Tenna's playing very patient. But as I say that, now the Frost Arm is gonna heal Antrax quite a bit.
Yeah, but he won't have that back up he won't actually get to use that a second time this match because there won't be enough time. But Antrax now, because he avoided that time distortion, he might have a good chance here. However, with Tenna in Bastion and with Antrax without the backstep available for him, it's going to be very, very hard for him to actually do too much. However, the Meteor Shout,
what?
What? But it was 100 to 0 in 3 seconds. Well done. Well done. My gosh. That was...
I I mean, I don't know if you have any other cooking puns in you, because now is the time to bring them out, I'd say.
Crispy fried tenor. Crispy fried, burnt, way past the normal level of it where anybody, it's charcoal. It's don't eat this, ever. That was, how did that go from, that went from like a 6 in intensity to breaking way off the scale.
Well, we talked about how positive vibes need to get another win here to make it a 3-3 scoreline, and I mean, I'm not disappointed. This matchup has been absolutely insane, and there's only plenty more to come. At the very least, or not at the very least, we'll have 2 more 3 versus 3 matches coming your way, and we've seen how explosive those can really be as well. But whew, I don't even know anymore. Antrax is on another level.
That Tenor seemed to have forgotten. See, what happened there was, again, the deflect window working against you. Short fuse, which is this skill that is almost never really, well, talked about on Force Masters. It's a very small skill that burns the opponent for a short amount of time. But it pierces deflect. Tenor tried to block it, and he got hit by it instead. As soon as that was on him, you're technically on fire. So Meteor Shower just goes from yeah, this is a little bit painful to oh god, my health, where is it going? I would also like to believe that the positioning from Antrax was intentional, but you have to be that if that was intentional, you are on an entirely different level to be able to go behind him and immediately just be like, oh hey, the wall's there. I guess you know what that means.
Definitely the best friend to Antrax right now, but as we will be going to that 3 versus 3 setup instead, I wouldn't be too surprised to see pretty much a repeat on both sides when it comes to the opener, because things were looking good for the side of Team Positive Vibes. Bad Intentions only eventually finding those combos and those burst windows to bring it back in their favor eventually. So I would like to see Cymex back in the opener. However, do you think there's going to be adaptations even with that being said?
It's hard. There are so many good openers that you can get, but that are hard to do. I think probably Antrax has the best opener for Positive Vibes. Immediately strafing mid-air into a Force Blast. If the opponent isn't expecting it, that is an incredibly strong opener that will force an escape, because you don't want to get set up on from the Force Blast. The 2-second stun that also freezes you. No. We ain't playing that game. It will be the same opener as before.
So we'll see whether or not it's going to be a repeat performance, or if Team Positive Vibes now feeling positive about their play will keep up their current momentum and make this another.
Yes, and of course with the way that Cymex is now playing, he is in a little bit of a rough spot, but he will manage to get out of the time distortion a little bit unscathed. It's fine. It's not a big deal. The Sea Shroud gets procced as well, so it's not really a big issue. Now, with no escape on him, he does still need to be very, very careful. The Pedal Storm is quite good, but it's not that good, and so Cymex might want to tag out soon enough, and definitely not get too close to the wall, because that's going to be very, very devastating for him. Mr. B actually gets tagged in now, and Cymex probably doesn't want to fight this matchup.
Might see him tag out soon enough. However, he does have that backstep coming back up soon enough, so we'll see whether or not he's going to opt in to stay, or rather for how much longer, as Mr. B now is going to be able to stay safe with use of that Ember Stop. Antrax in play instead. However, with him using that Typhoon, that's not going to be on the table for quite a while for Bad Intentions, so wallbang strat perhaps not really going to be happening for now, whereas on the other side, Antrax still looking for those openings and manages to dodge Mr. B for now, but not quite long enough, and with that Frost Armor coming into play as well, Mr. B is all too happy to just wait it out.
Yeah, well, Antrax does actually get caught out and grabbed into the air. Actually grabbed into the fists of Mr. B, forcing out a second win from him. Now he needs to be very careful because he has no escapes, and I don't think he has ice available for him, so he needs to be incredibly careful. However, the Sword Shroud is available for him, and now Ryuki juggled in the air, taking a huge chunk of damage. Antrax still taking a little bit as well. Now, Gonna maybe try to look for a setup, but Ryuki knows he can't continue that chain. Actually gets knocked out of stealth, but he counters the Phantom Grip. That was really masterfully done. Antrax now with the same amount of health almost as Ryuki. Needs to be very, very careful here. Stunned, launch into the air. This could be Antrax's death unless his teammate comes in just in the nick of time. Antrax, almost no health remaining. He's going to have to switch to that health restore ice armor after he tags back in next.
Ooh, but now Ryuki, having used his stealth to get out of that sticky situation, means that he needs to tag out Tenna, the one to come into play instead. But that was such a close call. The counter was so clutch on that Phantom Grip, but now, of course, still not over just yet. Brotherbill launched up into the air instead. The save coming in from the side of Cymex, retaliating himself with Tenna, dropping pretty low too, but we'll see whether or not Mr. B coming in with that Typhoon and now getting a potential catch-up. Trax rather will secure a kill. No is the answer. Frost Armor to save the day.
Oh, Antrax is playing with fire, not his own, and I'm not okay with this. My heart is not okay with this. But he should be fine for the time being. No second win available on him. He does still have his backstab, but he needs to be very careful. Tenna does have that Bastion available. Now, Frostburst used, unable to do too much, actually hit out of the Frostburst by Tenna's coils there. Very good. Not too much happening now. Can't really do a lot of actual damage, and now Phantom Gripped tried to go for the on-rush launch, but was unsuccessful in doing so. Antrax, you really need to be careful here. We know you're Force Master, we know you can heal up with that Divine Veil, but it's such a huge risk for you to be at this amount of health. With Ryuki still at 3 assists available on him, you don't want that to be a thing.
And now Mr. B still staying safe. Will continue to look for a potential opening here as he does actually use Gust on that Phantom Grip, so we'll get out of it. But no, he will be stunned up instead. But the assist is there. Antrax dropping extremely low. Ryuki looking for that kill. However, Bill somehow managing to keep him safe with the use of that Maelstrom. Antrax up into the air, but it's, I mean, talk about playing with fire. That's definitely it, and he does tag out, but close, a little too close for comfort, maybe.
My poor heart. Antrax, please. He has no tagouts available now, and Ryuki's stealth gets procced. Cymex needs to be very careful. He gets a stun onto him, forcing out his stealth. Ryuki, no escapes available on him. He needs to be very careful, especially with the execute coming out. He tags, Cymex tags out into Brother Bill, who is safe in the knowledge that Guardian Tempest is good enough, but Tenna still at full health, near enough. Now, his second win used. Onrush tried to be used, but now Brother Bill actually in a commanding position. There comes the ultimate onto Tenna, but the Thrall actually gets taken out by that. Tenna survives, but just we're in the nick of time using his Bastion. Ooh, Brother Bill though, he's out on a mission.
Oh, look at this damage! So much damage. Brother Bill does it. Tenna is out, but it's not over just yet. With Mr. B being so healthy, this could really go south still. Antrax being low as well, but this is looking good for positive vibes. Bill playing out of his mind right now. 52 seconds left in his time in the arena. He gets stuck to play. Not like this, but we do see the assist come through. Brother Bill dropping pretty low still. And with the bees, the air launch, we'll see Mr. B drop pretty low. What?
Antrax, no! Antrax, no! Pile driver!
Oh no! What is going on?
This is not what you want to have happen. However, 2 pivotal players now gone for both teams. However, no assists left, no tag outs available. Cymex now taking a lot of damage, and he needs to be very careful. This could be devastating. However, Mr. B has no escapes value on the blue pedal storm. It's so much damage, and it gets pounced. And Cymex brings it back. Now only Ryuki left, the last member standing for Team Bad Intentions.
He does it.
Cymex
1v1.
1 versus 1 against Brother Bill, and he is Broder angry.
Ooh, and he has all the defensive cooldowns. He needs Guardian Tempest to make sure Ryuki doesn't find an opening right now, but he does force out the second win, so that could be detrimental here. But the Phantom Grip into actually right now the unconscious will force out the stealth. So Ryuki perhaps crumbling right now under the pressure. Brother Bill, as he said, still angry. He gets stunned up though. This is the opportunity. Ryuki needs the assassination. He gets it.
Oh, that was so close. What an intense 3 versus 3 that was. I am... send help. Send help. That looked to be so good for positive vibes, and then it looked really bad, and then it looked really good, and then it was even, and then the ultimate came back up. Well played. Well played, Ryuki, for clutching it out.
Man, bringing us to a 1v1 scenario, one man standing, man standing for both of these teams, and in the end, Bad Intentions wants to get the win. And I think Mr. B was very detrimental there too, making sure he gets Cymex out of the picture in that scenario, because if Cymex would have survived for just a little while longer, I think they would have been able to sustain it. They should have had an easier time to get themselves the win. But man, Varney, Bad Intentions now at match points.
I would not want to be. I would not want to be playlist right now, because facing off against either of these teams is going to be. it's going to be a massive undertaking. But now 5-3, potentially only one 3 versus 3 remaining. But if Positive Vibes clutch it out, they still have one more to win after that, and that will be the final 3 versus 3 of this set. And they really want it if they need to. If they want to get through to the finals.
And it's very important that they do get it, because so much is on the line here. Not only those cash prizes, also the opportunity to represent Europe at the World's Championship. And we already know Bad Intentions last year at Worlds were not too happy with their performance. I think they want to go back and they want to have another shot, and they're just showing us how they can make that happen, because with clutch plays like that, you're gonna have a pretty good chance.
Yeah, Ryuki is no stranger to being the clutch machine, especially for Bad Intentions. He's mentioned it several times, and I don't think I'm here complaining about my heart. I don't know what it must be like for Ryuki to be in that situation. That is the most intense thing to be forced into having to complete.
Man, but talk about intense. We're gonna be back into it, and actually Brodabil to be the starter for Positive Vibes. Not quite sure why they went for this particular choice, because usually you're gonna want to save that Blade Dancer for those saves instead. But already getting the air launch, this is exactly where things could get hairy. But do you see Cymex come in, clutch, and make sure Brodabil stays safe for now?
Yeah, but he's the decision to send him out first really was a little bit questionable. Tenna still has both of his escapes available, and Brother Bill doesn't. And if he dies here instantly, luckily Antrax is there to save him. Brother Bill, you need to like not die. Yes, that thing right there. His escape is down again. Finally tags out. Manages to catch Tenna in mid-thrall summoning animation, so he's forced to tag out into Mr. B as well. Now, the Frost Burst is okay. Antrax needs to be careful not to get dragged here, because it is a very good ability, but the Divine Veil will deny Mr. B any chance of that. The Short Fuse does connect. You don't want to stand in those meteors. Look at that, just 2 ticks, and already a huge chunk of damage being done for basically no cost at all.
But Mr. B actually getting the air launch. We'll see Tenna come in with the assist. However, the save was there again, coming out of Cymex, interestingly enough. So Brodabil very patient with his respective assists for now. Could pay off in the long run of this match. However, we'll see. Right now, Antrax still staying safe, still being helped by the rest of his team, as Mr. B continuously spinning furiously with that Typhoon. And now with the grapple, with the assist, Ryuki coming in with the fighting spirit. Will this secure anything? Perhaps not, as Antrax is still alive with 25% HP.
That was a bit disgusting, but Antrax does still have his escapes available, so he'll probably try and stay in, since Mr. B doesn't have it. However, he just used Phantom Grip into the Stone Shield. That's fine for Mr. B, he's just going to tag out anyway, but now Antrax really needs to... Yeah, he knew that was a dangerous spot to be in. Cymex comes in with the Sunflowers. This isn't a great matchup for Assassin, because there are just so many ways to be taken out of stealth with the Sunflower, with the Doom and Bloom especially. But Ryuki still playing out of his mind with the party protection as well. And comes his teammate. Here comes Antrax, actually, my mistake, and Mr. B to try and do as much as possible. Antrax actually healing himself up while he's there, taking advantage of that situation. Now the time distortion coming out, resetting Ryuki's cooldowns. This is where things get really, really bad for Cymex if he doesn't tag out. Tech chase by the swap. Ooh.
Lightning stride, not quite catching him, and now Ryuki's gonna be the one to get launched up into the air instead. So we'll see what he can do to make sure he disengages. He will use stealth to make sure that does go through, but in the meantime, Antrax now pretty healthy, will look to get some work done, but second one already forced out. It's gonna force out the Lotus of Escape from Ryuki as well, so we'll see whether or not he can keep it up. Actually doesn't get the Frost Burst, instead makes it an easy setup for Ryuki, and no defensive options left for the Force Master here.
Oh no! In comes the execute, but it was cancelled just in time, and immediately Antrax switches out into Brother Bill. This is such an intense matchup. Cymex, no assists left on him at whatsoever. Mr. B and Ryuki still have one each, and so does Tenna. But now Tenna launched up into the air. This is going to be quite a bit of damage if Brother Bill manages to get it. He's going for the ground game, gets the lightning draw off. Doesn't opt to continue the combination. Gets Leech stunned into the air immediately. Antrax comes in, saves him from that devastating combination. Tenna with that Leech on available. It's just so strong. It boosts his damage. It gives him so much. So much. Now, Bill needs to avoid this ultimate, and he does. He manages to cancel it with the dual strike, but he's launched into the air again. Thrall MVP once again.
We do see, though, for all time, Mount Bastion still available, though, for Tenna, so he's going to keep himself safe. He does have that escape, however, it's going to be Ryuki coming in here for bad intentions instead. We'll see what he can do. He does have his ultimate available. If he manages to land it again, it's going to be crucial, but gets the stun. The Familiar right now, saving Cymex, is going to make things a little bit more difficult for Ryuki, who's still looking for a follow-up. So far, Sunflower is going to catch him out of stealth for now, but we'll see whether or not Cymex can weather the storm. Stay safe for now.
It's such a tough spot to be in, but if he ever catches Ryuki out, then it might be devastating, but he's using Sunflowers and not bees, so it's just a really, really tough spot for him. Ryuki, if he can't block, it's going to be really, really rough for him, but Cymex just can't seem to find the opener. Ryuki is just dancing around him effortlessly. His flower is down once again, and the Familiar is being more of a hindrance than a benefit right now.
Ooh, and he gets the stun, forces out that escape, so Cymex will be forced to use his last tag out. No more tag outs left, and now Antrax popping interesting choice there to go for the ultimate. However, now, as he does not have that second one left any longer, backstep is going to be his only choice, and with the assist coming through from the side of Tenna, he's going to go for the reset. He's going to opt in to use that time distortion, but this does mean Bad Intentions does not have any assists left themselves, so it's going to come down to these 1v1s for the most part. Phosphorus is not going to connect again.
Oh, no.
Oh, Ryuki.
Every time. But Antrax with the 3-minute ice immediately actually exiting it to mix Ryuki up. Ryuki will be taking out very soon. He'll probably look for an opening or like a setup, but he doesn't have his webbing available. He's going to go for that.
Oh, he gets it! What?
Oh,
what?
No, not like this. Antrax is such a pivotal player, mate. You can't just be... This is Gigablade syndrome. This is what Pieb does. Why is this happening here now? This is just abysmal now. But they're not out of it just yet. Mr. B with no escapes on him. He does still have a tag out available. He's still using the AoE drag for the summoner matchup. But now Bill, no focus available on him whatsoever. Does end up getting stunned. Mr. B playing very, very carefully, using that iron plating preemptively. Throws in the ultimate, but it doesn't matter. Bill is just ready for it. Now, oh, no!
Giga!
Oh, so close! If he had gotten that, that would have been just the opening they needed, but it's not quite enough. However, Mr. B is now so low that it's so dangerous for him to come in and try and do anything in 5 seconds or so time when they get more assists. But Bill, just a bit too quick on that lightning draw, not landing it onto Ryuki, but it's okay. It's a short cooldown. He'll have it back again soon anyway. He needs to be very careful. Ryuki, with the tech chases, is just so good at this, and now Bill needs to avoid as much as he possibly can because he can't tag out and he has 30 seconds left, but he's launched into the air.
Oh, he gets saved up by Cymex, but he might go down as well in the meantime, as we did see him take so much damage as well. And now coming in with the Shadow build, it's gonna be the kill. And we do have Mr. B claim another Cymex last man standing for Positive Vibes. Bad Intentions, one member away from securing themselves the spot in the finals. We'll see Cymex drop down to 5%, make that 0, and Bad Intentions with the win.
Unfortunate. Antrex to be caught by an Ultima in neutral is just ludicrous and so upsetting. They had such a strong start as well at the beginning of this whole set, and it's okay. They still have a chance. They still have the losers finals against Playlist, but my gosh. With no exams, with no more exams on the horizon, apparently Tenna is just like, I got this, and we will be seeing more of him and his team, and at the finals in Leicester. So congratulations to them for making it this far, and now best of luck to the remaining match we have to play, which is Playlist versus Positive Vibes.
It's gonna be even more exciting action, and it was so close, Barney. I mean, it was such a crazy play coming out of Brother Bill. I do think right now he's playing absolutely out of his mind. This match was so intense, and unfortunately for them, they will be knocked to the losers bracket, but they still have one final chance at that qualification spot. Remember, so much is on the line, but on the other hand, congratulations for Bad Intentions for bringing it back, making it a win instead for their end after being down 2-0 in that match versus Positive Vibes. They will be going, as Barney just said, to Leicester at the ESL UK studio on the 26th of August, where they will have a shot at not only getting a lot of cash prizes, but also the opportunity to potentially represent Europe at the World Championships. But as said, we are not done just yet. Before we go into our losers bracket final to decide the second team that will be joining Bad Intentions at the LAN finals, we'll be heading over to a break.
In the second last week of July, Europe's best Blade and Soul players assembled their teams for a chance to represent the region at the World Championships. In the first preliminary week, teams wasted no time in putting on a spectacle, starting with this 2% clutch play from Ryuki.
This could be very bad. The dual dragon's already connecting in the meteors.
Oh.
Well, 2%. He just needs like one hit more to get it. But he's stalling for time with the Frost Armor. He knows it's too risky to try and hit Ryuki out. The flower is down, but he might not get to use it if Intro plays this correctly.
Ooh, this is gonna be so close, but he does get the stun. He needs to somehow survive, dance around his opponent. Ice Flyer was procced, but Intro, just one hit could be enough. Ryuki somehow still in the game at 3% HP, does manage to find another CC. No tap escape for Intro. Can Ryuki make a huge comeback happen as the stun will connect again? Follows it up with the second one. So many CCs on the board for the stun. He gets the air actually connection, and Ryuki wins!
With not only a spot at LAN finals up for grabs, but also guaranteed prize money, there was a lot to play for. Bad Intentions continued to be the entertainers, with veteran player Mr. B putting his fearsome destroyer up against fellow tournament regular Lukey, taking the fight down to a single hit.
Well then, managing to launch Mr. B up into the air, getting great return damage, and Mr. B doesn't actually have any defensive cooldowns. He got Gust up just now, but Ember Stomp was there just
so
in time.
close.
Is it gonna
So
be
close.
a battle of the
No.
cleaves? Oh!
Stone shields and everything in between. Searing Stars
Oh,
get popped. No, the deflect! Out of all the things to close this one out.
With scores tied and the all-important 3v3 rolling around, tensions were high between Bad Intentions and Papa Enol. Sensing that Tenor had no cooldowns, Papa Enol used precision timing to capitalize with a perfect tag-in execute.
Used to deal a little bit of damage, force out some escapes from Tenor, and now...
Oh, a little bit. Maybe you meant a lot of damage, as we will see Poppy Enel pick up that first kill.
Lukey and Mr. B met yet again on the battlefield, and this time, the loser went home. Learning from their last encounter, Lukey was able to get the drop on Mr. B and keep his team's hopes alive.
Pops out quite a bit of damage, persistence used on both sides, but Gust will soon enough be available for Lukey, and that's when things will potentially seal things up for him, as 9%, 6% for Mr. B. Lukey, he's so close to winning this one for his team. He's so close for making sure that Papiano advances for the losers bracket. 6% still healing just a little bit, but no!
He gets it! He gets it!
When a Blade Master goes up against a gunslinger, it's generally pretty one-sided. In order to avoid an almost certain death by ranged weapon, Zay of Puppy Enol pulled off a miraculous deflect ground pound to flip the switch on his opponent, sending the casters into awe.
We will see how effective he can really be.
Another deflect!
Moment as he will get the knockdown. He will get the stun
This guy!
again!
This guy! How do you keep... Okay, we're back to old Blade Master ground game apparently. Don't you
no. Oh, second win now finally forced out at the very least, but 35% is all Ace 5 has left to his name, and Zay so close to finishing this off. Oh, sorry, Falcon attempting to re-engage. He gets the knockdown.
No way!
He gets the launch and the finisher, Zay again.
Nerves were definitely high, and even the best succumbed to the simplest mistakes. Here, Ace 5 sees an easy window of opportunity and takes it.
Looking really badly in this matchup.
Oh!
No! What?
Did he just walk up slowly?
In the final game of the day, Team Bai and Puppy Enol took the series all the way. Both on 4 points and with a lot to play for, teams were relentless in their gameplay. But in the end, only one of the two Titans could advance.
Available though, of course, for the side of Team Bai, and with that, it's going to be the time distortion coming through. Lukey caught up, but he will continue to spin. He cannot win off of it though, as we will see Ace 5 close the series.
Congratulations to both Team Bai and Goblin Spiders on their success in Week 1 of the Blade and Soul World Championship European Qualifiers.
It was kind of a dream to play esports.
Hello and welcome to the Blade and Soul Europe.
I wanted to compete in Korea. That was like my goal, in top of EU. And then I achieved that, and it was really exciting to be there.
To be honest, we didn't expect to win regionals. We were like, yo, we can actually do this.
That's what I mean, 10 being 10.
And it motivated us, and we like kept going, and we wanted to prove that we can stand our ground against people, right?
I just told myself I will be there one day. Looking up to good players in EU, I got better myself, got into the community and helped each other out, improved over time.
You learn more from a loss than from a win. Play to improve, not to win.
Get good, make a team, and have a great time with us.
It's a great experience.
To every player that has come this far, I have seen your commitment. I have seen your sacrifices. All of this. This is for you.
This is it. The next matchup will decide the final team that will be going to the LAN finals in Leicester at the ESL studio in the UK. And it's been an absolutely insane run throughout the tournament. We are down to these two last teams. Positive Vibes versus Playlist. Of course, my name is Brinch, joined by Barney. And I don't think his poor little heart can take much more of that intense action.
Now, my heart is very big because I'm a tall person. It literally needs to be big in order to pump blood around my body. Even still, it's not quite holding out at the moment. That last words, Bad Intentions versus Positive Vibes was so ultimately, no, that's not the word, so amazingly impressive that I am struggling to even be right now. Existing is difficult after witnessing all that just sheer majesty of what they managed to pull off. In fact, I highly recommend everybody rewatches the VOD, because my goodness, it's so good. It's so good. There are so many ridiculous moments in it. Too many to count. When Antrax just turned it around against Mr. B, or was it Mr. B? It wasn't Mr. B, it was Tenor. It definitely was Tenor. In 3 versus 3s, when Antrax just got blown up, the execute, and Ryuki clutching it out twice in a row, and it's so good.
And of course, we have to remind everyone that we are still using the 8-set mix and match, so a lot more action still to come. With those 1v1s, with those 3 versus 3s, we've seen how good Positive Vibes can really be at that setup too. I mean, Brother Bill had some insane plays, came so close to clutching it back in their favor, but was not meant to be. However, there is still a lot on the line, of course. As said, not only cash prizing for those LAN finals, but the opportunity to represent Europe at the World Championships. Both of these teams will be looking to grab themselves the last spot of the second preliminary tournament.
Yes, much dosh to be earned, and much dosh will be earned in that time frame when people go to Leicester. Formulating sentences is really hard at this time, so you'll have to forgive me if my poetry is less than stellar. But you know, the amount that you get is pretty good, and the chance to represent the European region at the World Championships is obviously an incredible title to actually have under your belt. But there are plenty of other titles to earn as well, so it's never going to be it's never truly over for any one team unless they decide to call it quits. For instance, Goblin Spiders, before their rename, when they were bed inventors, I believe, they invented beds. So they got the title of Best in the West from the Battle Brawl back in March. So you know, that is also a pretty good one. Of course, Bad Intentions, their reputation kind of precedes them. They don't really have that many proper accolades, but they're pretty well feared nonetheless. And of course, they did win the regionals last year as well. So you know, there's just so much so much excitement to come, and I'm really, really looking forward to it. Leicester's going to be amazing. In fact, I encourage people to come just to view it live, even if you don't get invited. Just come over. It'll be fine. It'll be fun. Taste the real Guinness. I'm really fishing for sponsorships, but just come on over. It's fine. Hopefully the heat won't kill you, as it is me currently. Ooh.
Well, not only that, meeting the players, I think, is really just such a blast. All of them are such good sports, and it's awesome to hang around with. But it's gonna be, as said, positive vibes versus playlists, and we just saw positive vibes get so close, even though the scoreline would perhaps make it or deceive you into thinking that set, or rather that series wasn't as close. It was definitely really close. So positive vibes will be still hopefully feeling good about themselves, looking to stay strong and perhaps claim a victory here. But with Team Playlist having Yoni He playing exceptionally well, Queen Fairy, or previously known as Trucidator, also just as consistent as ever, and then even Hawkid stepping up to the occasion on that Blade Master, really performing to a T.
Definitely, and especially since, as we mentioned previously, both yesterday and in the first preliminary tournament, it really seemed like Yoni He was the main carry, but now, having finally stepped up to the plate, finally showing that they are capable of playing to their fullest as a cohesive team, they're really going to need all of that skill and determination to go up against positive vibes and actually have, well, a good run, because it's gonna be hard after seeing how they performed against Bad Intentions. I don't envy Playlist's position whatsoever right now.
And the scary thing is, the first 1v1 matchup is going to be between Hawkid and Cymex, and Hawkid's going to be playing his Blade Master. So Blade Master versus Summoner, considering it's also Cymex we're talking about, shouldn't be an easy one for him, that's for sure.
Yeah, historically, Summoners have had a pretty good run over on Blade Masters, and especially now since they have that deflect window, one might think, hey, that's pretty good. Against the cat, maybe. Against Sunflower, not so much. And so, yeah, but again, the burst damage from Blade Master, you have to respect it. If Hawkid finds an opening, it's going to be incredibly devastating. He actually manages to, I do believe he did use Soaring Falcon in that opener, which didn't actually accomplish too much to his dismay. Now Hawkid, with his defense broken, needs to be very, very careful. Gonna throw out a few pierces. The shoulder charge days actually did him some good damage, but that cat homes in on him like a missile and launches him into the air.
And the bees follow up soon enough, but now with the retaliation coming in, the 5-point strike launching Cymex up into the air for now, but the Familiar being such a big pest right now for Hawkid, gonna make things very difficult. He actually uses Take Flight on him, so we'll see if he can stay safe for now, because Cymex is on the hunt and bees are on the menu. 35% now on Hawkid. Make that 50%, gets launched up into the air. This is surely at 1% and dead. Cymex, first one on the board for positive vibes.
That is unlucky. That is just... It's to be expected, though. The Summoner matchup for Blade Master is really, really tough. If he had opted to go on his Gunslinger, maybe it would have gone a little bit differently. But as we mentioned earlier today as well, it's a comfort pick. Go on what you are comfortable playing as. If you're not, then, well, it might end the same way just because you're not used to the class that you're playing. So it's a bit of an unfortunate start, but not too devastating. It's only the first 1v1. There are still plenty of matches to come. So not to worry. Pick yourself up and yeah, and should be good. Should have more opportunities.
And if there's any consolation, even Bad Intentions were down 2-0 in their matchup versus Positive Vibes, still brought it back. And not only that, in the next 1v1, it will be between Yoni He and Bredabil. And while I would say in terms of the classes, Yoni He should be looking good with this matchup, but considering Bredabil's performance today, you think they're actually going to be able to find a 1-to-1 point equalization here?
Maybe, but it's ultimately going to be very, very tough to figure out how exactly they want to play it. He has shown himself to be very, very powerful and like very good when it actually comes down to it. But he also had a few questionable moments in the 3 versus 3s against Bad Intentions, where he led the charge in a matchup where it absolutely was unfavorable no matter what. So hopefully he'll be able to pull it back and perform to his fullest in this matchup.
We'll see if that will be the case. So far, no openings found on either side, but very nicely done by Yonihi to dodge most of those first options coming out of the side of Brother. But Blitzbait will enable him to just go in with a 5-point strike for now. Yonihi potentially in a lot of danger, especially now that we do see a lot of follow-up damage. Dual strike to continue the combo, but second wind expended means that Yonihi, if he gets caught one more time, could be in a heap of trouble. But we'll see him land the flying slam. It's looking good. Second window still available for Brother Bill.
Yeah, it's looking to be quite a good position for Brother Bill here. Yonihi, no escapes available on him, and the lightning draw is going to be coming up right now. It's looking like this could just be game. Oh, but Brother Bill, a bit too preemptive on that. He needs to end this now, but he doesn't actually finish it. He does get his escape back launched into the wall, but he should be fine. Smite missing its mark now with the second win available for him, and Brother Bill out of it. This is actually terrible for him. He absolutely cannot afford to get caught, but he does. But he does. There's the tremor. There's the searing bomb. If he executes this perfectly, he does. What a madman!
Oh man, Yoni clutching it out again. Again, Barney for Team Playlist.
Please, it's amazing to watch, but think of the broadcasters. Oh my god, that was absolutely. You know?
Agreed.
My god.
Man, that just goes to show, if you just miss your mark once, that might just be it right there and there. And Brother Bill not having second win, gets caught into that stun. I do believe it was off of the triple kick in. That's all she wrote. Yonihi having that Ember Storm, having everything else too easy for him.
That perfect execute. I want to point out, if he hadn't actually performed that 2RF animation cancel perfectly, Brother Bill would have been able to get out. But he even animation canceled the Comet Strike. Oh, what a day. What a day. I'm so happy.
Exactly. I wouldn't want it any other way. Very appropriate for our losers bracket finals as well, to decide the last team that will be going over to the finals. And it's just such a treat to watch Playlists play to this level too. I mean, talk about Yonihi. It's all the members playing really, really well. In hockey, yes, gonna have the best of time versus Cymex, but that is a matchup that is heavily favored on the side of the Summoner. However, now that we will be going over to the 3 versus 3s with tag team, here's where things are gonna get even spicier, Barney.
Oh, absolutely. I really, really want to see more of that just occurring in this 3 versus 3. But my goodness, this... it's such an intense lineup, and neither team has a Warlock, which I can't say I'm disappointed about. But the Summoner has been mentioned to fill in a similar role to an Assassin, where you have great damage, you have a great party protection iframe. You also have the Blade Dancer, which has the lightning draw. It's a very consistent damage lineup available for them. But what Playlist has is unexpected damage. Soaring Falcon from Hawkid. As much as people say, oh yeah, it's really easy to see, just avoid it. It's really easy to see if you see where the Blade Master's coming from and if you're not paying attention to something else. Seeing it off screen is nigh impossible to react to. And getting hit by that and a Searing Slash We've seen that damage plenty of times, and that's going to be the deciding factor, I feel.
And it's interesting to see positive vibes sending out Brother Bill again in the free versus free side of things. Yoni to start things off on the other side for Team Playlist, and already an assist committed from there, and we'll see positive vibes with an advantage for now in the opener, but we've seen how quickly these advantages can really swing one way or another, as Yoni might just be forced to use that second one soon enough as the grip will connect, gets in, back in with the lightning drop, but not really quite hitting too much of its mark. Second one expended on both sides. They need to come in with the assist, and there it is. Antrax saving Builder, and now being launched up into the wall will be saved up as well by the rest of Playlist.
But without a second wind on him, he needs to be very, very careful. Although this matchup is pretty good, if he gets the evasion stacks, gets the maximum agility, he should be a-okay on the side of Yoni. But he still needs to be careful because he's pounced up. Luckily, his teammate is just so quick to respond. Queen Fairy with his assists. He's just so speedy. And it's exactly what he needed. Also gave Yoni that blue buff. Cymex needs to be very careful. Flurry on its own doing a massive amounts of damage.
Uh-oh!
Firestorm kick, he needs to be careful, but he still has a second win. Holding on now. Holding on for dear cooldowns. Not life, he's fine on that, but cooldowns.
I mean, I don't know for how much longer, considering the fact, rather the lack of those cooldowns, but Yoni, he's still in it. He's at 100% HP, playing out of his mind still. Lands that stun, will follow it up again with the smite, but his time is out. He's gonna be out of the arena in the setup.
That was sick. That was sick. The whipping off of the aerial from his teammate. Oh, and he's getting so much damage onto him now. However, with no escapes on Queen Fairy, he needs to be a little bit cautious here. He does still have his tag outs. In fact, everyone still has full tag outs on the side of Playlist. A lot of assists are down, but it's not too bad. Yoni just staying in for so long, being such a beast that they still have all three of their assists, and that is going to be absolutely devastating if they come in with that tremor blue buff and the fire build too. Oh, spicy, and I want to see it. I want to see it. There it is!
Speaking of that spicy action, with UC Queen Fairy though being launched up into the air, this could be very dangerous. Those meteors hitting hard. Queen Fairy dropping to 5%. He's out. Positive vibes, just absolutely demolishing their opponents right now. Or at the very least, Queen Fairy taking him out of the picture, but it's not over just yet. At the very least, Yoni, we know how much of a raid boss it can actually be and how difficult it is to take them out, but we'll see whether or not that will happen. As so far, Antrax is still on point. We'll see second wind be expended, and as a result, Hawkit, the one to come in to play Phantom Grip, will land, and things are looking better and better for Antrax. Tab escape used to.
Yeah, he needs to be very, very careful against the wall there. Luckily, the shield charge was proc, so he did get a Cyclone to get out of that snare. It's looking a bit grim, but these people have been known to come back from much worse. He baits out the Blitzblade, but with no second wind on him, he needs to be very, very careful. Yoni, he tries to come in and save him, but Hawkid, if he gets hit by this, it'll certainly be his death.
There it is!
Oh, Yoni, he forced into a 1 versus 3 scenario so early, getting huge damage onto Cymex in return, but this is looking to be very, very bad. I kind of have to hope. I really hope Yoni has the correct build, but now grabbed by the cat. No ability to block now because of that pounce. And with the blue build, the blue pedal storm coming out from Cymex as well, Yoni is in a really, really rough spot.
But he does have the ultimate available. He goes in for the kill. Oh, Antrax just, nope, doesn't want to deal with that. Not at all. And as a result, Brother Bill will be the one to come in. He does have the Guardian Tempest. Will keep him safe. Gets the stun. Second one is not available. And the bees are there. The kill is secured. Positive vibes off of some amazing play coming out of Antrax. Get the win in the end.
Tables can turn instantly. That is really, really unfortunate for them. And even though Yoni, he had such an amazing, amazing start, and even though Hawkit is actually playing incredibly well as well, baiting out the Blitzblade defense break from Bill, and then using the Cyclone afterwards, it's so good. But the assists were ultimately a little bit better for positive vibes that time around. It's not over yet. We're going into the next bout of 1 versus 1s. If there's anywhere where playlists need to secure an advantage, it's here and now.
The thing is, Barney, next up, it's Antrax versus Queen Fairy, Force Master versus Sin, and Antrax, considering how he's playing right now and the matchup at hand, you gotta give it to him, right?
Yeah, it's gonna be really, really hard. Queen Fairy has clutched out quite a few, but so has Antrax, and it's gonna be really, really difficult for both sides. They both have an escape, but the key difference is that Force Master's stall potential is a little bit better because they're just completely invincible for the duration, for 15 seconds, no less. It's a long time to. It's a lot of time to be able to buy oneself.
And we'll see if Antrax can secure another win on the board. These are very important for the side of Team Playlist because if they allow one more point to go through for positive vibes, they only need one more 3 versus 3 win and they're good. That's all. But if somehow Playlist gets both 1v1s wins on the board here, that's where things are going to get really interesting, and we will at the very least have 2 more 3 versus 3s coming our way. But we'll find out whether or not that will be the case because the round is ready. Antrax for the side of positive vibes versus Queen Fairy for Team Playlist.
Oh, and immediately getting the Force Blast opener, not something you want to have happen. Already the flower down, and stealth as well because of the Phantom Grab. It's looking really bad. However, the second one from Antrax doesn't land, doesn't have any initiation tools, tries to use the ice preemptively, doesn't get too much out of it. He does still have his back step, so Queen Fairy will need to be very, very careful about that. The swap gets avoided, and gets deflected.
And this could go south so fast. We've seen Antrax just absolutely decimate his opponents given the opportunity. But now with the Frost Burst, he's going to have an easy setup. The Pain Train will continue. Queen Fairy in the world of hurt is going to just have this will to blaze 70%. Make that 0. Antrax still on fire, still on point. Secures another victory on the board. And as I said, this is going to be very important for them because now all they need is 1 more 3 versus 3 win, and they're golden.
It's gonna be hard though. It's gonna be really, really hard. It's okay. There's still an opportunity, but they really, really need to step things up. Positive Vibes is just running away with things. Antrax just absolutely insane. He's done that so many times, and the thing is, he's so confident about it as well, calling their bluff with that Firestorm parry. 1 whole second to, essentially be able to do nothing or get deflected is a long time. And it's up every 18 seconds. Plus, the cooldown of Firestorm actually goes down if you get a successful deflect. So you get to do it again.
Because why not? But still, at the very least, you could argue there's a saving grace here for Team Playlist. The fact that with the next 1v1, it's not going to be too much for themselves. Of course, if they do get it, it's a nice moral boost, but it is going to be between Brother Bill and Yoni here. And Brother Bill will most definitely be looking for that rematch because also remember, Positive Vibes were the team in the first place to knock out Playlist to the losers bracket in the second preliminary tournament.
Yeah, so having that sort of rematch aspect, especially when there's so much more on the line this time around, they definitely don't want to be giving away free victories. They want to be doing as best as they possibly can. As you say, Positive Vibes are in an amazing spot right now where they only need 1 more 3 versus 3 in order to take it all. Whereas Playlist, they have a monumental task ahead of them. They need to win this 1 versus 1 and then 2 3v3s.
It's a tough ask, but we'll see if they can step things up and if they can rise to the occasion. Remember, not only cash prizes are going to be at stake here, also the opportunity to represent Europe at the World's Championship. And, both of these teams are going to be giving their best to make sure they go through and secure that last spot for those finals, which will be happening on the 26th of August. But enough talk. Next up, it is, as said, Brother Bill versus Yonihi, Blade Dancer versus KFM.
Yes, hopefully the opener will go a little bit better this time for both members. But Soaring Falcon doesn't connect. And nothing too much happening. Tries to maybe get a little bit of damage onto him, but the Rising Dragon used into the spin won't stun him. Flying Slam from neutral. That's always nice to see. Ooh, attacks into the ground counter and immediately gets dazed for his troubles. Bill actually using the wind build here. There's the wind slash. Quite a bit of damage. Not too much. Yoni, he's still holding on to that second wind. They know that they need to be very, very careful in using it, especially since Bill is no stranger to turning on a dime, and especially with all of the resists that Blade Dancer has, which Yoni, he just goes right through, not caring about it at all. Getting a little bit of damage, stalling for time as well. Bill knows he has to be very careful with Phantom Gripping because using the Emit Frost is going to be very dangerous, but the instant stun dual strike into the Wind Slash is not too much damage. Yoni here still safe. We'll have second wind back up soon enough. The smite gets avoided by Brother Bill, trying to predict a few early exits, but he's unsuccessful in doing so. Tremor used a bit wide there.
We'll see whether or not Yunihi can still somehow recreate that magic from that last 1v1 versus Brother Bill. As so far, both of them do have those second wins available. Brother Bill unable to get another opening. It's gonna be the Flying Slam instead into the Rising Dragon, now securing himself another aerial. Quite a bit of safe damage coming in here onto Brother Bill, who does not manage to land the Phantom Grip. So now, slowly but surely, Yunihi has been staying in this game and just looking to build an advantage in his favor. Instead, so far, he's gonna be able to dance around straight. Maelstrom now popped. The draw is there, or rather Wind Slash, but the return damage could be happening off of the second wind. However, Guardian Tempest is there. Second wind still not forced out of Brother Bill. And again, pretty much a same type of performance coming in here from Brother Bill.
Ooh, the backstep avoids the Phantom Grip. Very timely there, but we have less than a minute remaining, and Yoni here really needs to do more damage here. This is looking to be very, very bad. Finally caught out. The Wind Slash is probably going to be enough once he gets it back, but he doesn't have it back just yet. Another 5-point strike. Yep, this is going to be it. And... well...
splat.
Splat. Ultimately, this 1 versus 1 doesn't actually mean anything for the side of Positive Vibes because they only need to win a 3 versus 3 anyway. But this has just made Playlist's task even worse. You have to win 3 versus 3s in a row in order to take it all home. It's looking bleak. It's looking really, really bleak.
It's not looking too hot for them, but on the other hand, of course, if you're a fan of Team Positive Vibes, it's looking absolutely great for you. You are now at match point, 1 set away from securing themselves that final spot for those finals. I mean, they had a tough road for themselves, but they made sure they made the most out of it, and gotta give it to them. All that practice paying off. Definitely seen Anthrax play absolutely out of his mind. At times, if you brought up Bill, of course, Cymex doing Cymex and some other things himself too. We'll see whether or not they can close this one out in this next 3 versus 3.
Well, I would certainly hope so. It would be a damn shame to not have them at least win a couple of 3 versus 3s. You know, give a really great spectacle. They have been doing so thus far in the tournament, and I can't be happier. But you know, it's just such a tough ask against a team like that. But Yoni He, Queen Fairy as well, and Hawkid, they're an amazing team. Regardless of what happens, I want to see them again and again and again, because that was exhilarating to watch.
And it's well, okay, I could have argued coming into the second day of the preliminary tournament, all right, bad intentions and perhaps Positive Vibes, definitely see them potentially making it through, but teams like Poppy Anno being knocked out and instead Playlists rising to the occasion has been surprising, but as you said, amazing to watch. Definitely gonna be exciting to see a lot more out of all of them. So we'll see whether or not Positive Vibes closes this one out. Next potential final set coming up in about 15 seconds.
Yes, but it is still a monumental task. I wish them all the best of luck. And yeah, it's gonna be great either way. The 4th team to join, it'll be one of these two to join the other 3 teams: Bad Intentions, Goblin Spiders, and Team Bai. Oh, it's gonna be a wonderful finals, and I cannot wait for that.
And to start things off, again, it's going to be Brother Bill for the side of positive vibes, and Yonihi on the other hand. So repeat of the last 3 versus 3. Things were looking good for the side of playlist at the start, but as I say that already, Brother Bill stepping it up, turning up the heat, managing to dish out so much damage off of that lightning draw. Now Yonihi down to about 59% HP. Brother Bill still at max health. Finally, we do see Yonihi look for an opening. Second win is not available, so he gets another catch that will most assuredly prompt those assists to come in on both sides.
Oh, but Bill has had no focus to spin, and now he's... Oh, he almost got just destroyed by Hawkid's assist there. He did take the Searing Slash before Antrax could come in and ice him, so now this is a huge amount of damage. He needs to be very careful here. Luckily, Yonihi is prepared for that second win escape of Brother Bill, and he's still staying in, and now the Ice Mine actually came in to protect Yonihi for a little bit longer, but he needs to be very careful. Brother Bill does not want to stay in, and neither does Yonihi. Now, looking to be in a pretty rough spot for both sides. Assists, same amount of assists used, same amount of tag outs used, more or less even, but Yonihi is at a definite disadvantage because can't heal quite as much as that Blade Dancer.
Oh, and the Frostburst is not going to be successful there for the side of Antrax. Now, still hunted down by Hawkid, who's looking for any potential opportunity to dish out even more damage as the stun will land. The second win now forced out of Antrax. Could be in a potential dangerous spot. Second one still available, of course, for Hawkid. He's gonna still look for any other follow-up, and there it is. The assist there, Antrax is so low, but he does manage to tag out Fighting Spirit there, just chunking so much of his HP.
Hawkid needs to probably tag out now. He goes into Yoni. He doesn't want to fight that summoner matchup. But I want to say how patient he was for waiting out that Firestorm parry this time around. Does not want to get caught by it this time. Yonihi still in a really rough spot. Unable to block. You need to get out of there. Ooh.
Manages to do just so before it did go down, but now Lightning Strike. You believe that must have been a crit because Cymax got chunked for quite a bit, but now the assist. Oh, the aerial is not really gonna do too much. So very nicely done by both of these teams to make sure they stabilize for now. Brother Bill though could be looking good right now.
Potentially. But if he loses his second win against Queen Fairy, it's going to be very bad. Unfortunately, not able to get too much, and Queen Fairy's stealth is still on a fairly long cooldown of 15 seconds. Flower is up, but needs to be careful and always have it down, because a single assist from either Antrax or Cymax could mean his death. And Brother Bill, especially with that lightning draw, is a force to be reckoned with.
And we've just seen how much damage he can really do off of it, but now Guardian Tempest is going to be his option, making sure that he does stay safe and that he does find an opening. Instead, it's going to be the 5-point strike, prompting that escape, that stealth use out of Queen Fairy, and now they will be out of defensive options when it comes to getting out of those crowd controls. And with Brother Bill still holding on to his second win, things are looking really good right now for positive vibes.
Queen Fairy does actually get caught out, and quite a bit of damage dealt onto him, but Yonihi now actually gets tagged in, which is really not good. Again, I can heal up with the Rising Dragon, but it has to land first, and no second wind either, so this could be actually really devastating. Does get a little bit of health back, does avoid the Soaring Falcon, playing very patiently.
Oh,
but the perfect timing from Bill. And now Yonihi is forced into this really dire circumstance where they can't block. They have to take the damage. They're going to die to Briar Patch.
Oh, unfortunate, but that timing coming out of Brother Bill was amazing. But Hawkid is not going to have any say in it. Instead, he's going to be launched up into the air. What the bees? I mean, okay, damage was good for Hawkid, but never mind. It's even better for Cymax, as Queen Fairy is going to be the one to come in his stead. But this is so dire for playlist. Positive vibes might close this one out. They might be the victors, but Queen Fairy has a say in it. He gets a kill onto Cymax. It's not over.
Did he launch a firework? Is that allowed? Did Cymax launch a firework? You're gonna have to get a replay on that one.
I don't know what you're talking about, Barney.
Anyway, so Cymax down. Queen Fairy and Hawkid still alive. Hawkid does have a few tools to heal himself back up with. Impact is one of the few skills that doesn't care about Soaring Falcon and will block it no matter what, even though it is technically unblockable. So that's unfortunate for Hawkid, but he does still have few escapes available for him. He will have that 5-point strike, the iframe 5-point strike, because he needs to be very careful here. Flocker Blades should be good enough, but he won't get to use it at this stage. Brother Bill comes in, finishes him off with the Blitz Blade in the aerial, and now Queen Fairy, tasked with much the same as what Ryuki was. This is going to be really, really, really impressive if he manages to pull it out, but it's going to be tough.
He does have that ultimate available, so if somehow he closes this one out real fast, I mean, it could potentially happen, but as I say, that Anthrax making quick work of him, forcing him out of both of his defensive options. This could be a last man standing for Playlist. They need to make a miracle happen to make sure this one stays alive, but no, the ultimate goes wide, and the Frost Burst will connect Queen Fairy in the world to hurt the stun, the assist, the kill, and positive vibes. We will be the final team that will go to the finals.
Yep. Well played. That was good. It's over. 7. That was very unfortunate though, and I am a little bit upset the Playlist didn't manage to go through. It would have been really great to see some new faces, but it's not. You know, this should not dissuade them in any way. They played phenomenally today and yesterday as well. I wish them all the best of luck, and I hope to see them again for all future events, because this is what this whole thing is leading towards, is that you better yourselves by playing against each other, by playing against one another and getting better at it, seeing each other's weaknesses, improving upon them, and then eventually, ultimately beating the Koreans at their own game, because that's kind of what we're supposed to do here. So, yeah. Bad Intentions and Positive Vibes will be the final 2 teams to join Goblin Spiders and Team Bai in the finals that will be occurring in Leicester on the 26th of August.
And you definitely won't be wanting to miss out on that one, because not only are there going to be cash prizes on the line here, also one of them will be moving forward to represent Europe at the World Championships. But if you like more Blade & Soul PvP action, don't fret, there's more coming your way. We have the North American, last of the North American side for the day 2 of the preliminary tournament happening at 2 p.m. PDT or 9 p.m. UTC. Of course, if you can, make sure you come by at the studio in ESL in Leicester, because it's going to be such a great time. Not only are you going to have some amazing games coming your way, but just hanging out is going to be the best of times for sure. All of these players are really cool people, and you definitely want to meet them in person. So until then, once again, I do want to thank Barney for co-casting. It's been an absolutely insane run today. So many exciting matches, broadcasting team and everyone else making sure that the players are in check and ready to go, referees and everything else. Of course, if you want to check back at any of the action you might have missed, all the VODs will be up on the official YouTube channel on Blade & Soul. Of course, also follow Blade & Soul on Twitch to make sure you don't miss out on any exciting content, including that North American finals happening soon enough. And of course, if you want to keep up with all the Blade & Soul esports news, you can find it all at esports.bladeandsoul.com. But again, my name's been Brinch. Any closing thoughts, Barney?
Yes, thank you, Tresemme. If you want to sponsor me, then by all means go ahead, because I'm always willing to I'm just saying, I'm willing to do it for you. I'm willing to give you the free PR. So other than that, yeah, I think you mentioned thanks to everybody, and thanks to the players as well for providing just an amazing ride. Wonderful 2 days that we had today and yesterday, and also the first preliminary tournament. I expect great things from everybody. So, yeah, until then, see you then.
See you then.
All right, everyone. Thank you so much for tuning in to our European World Series. We're going to meet you guys back up for the finals on August 26th. You will not want to miss it. It's going to be insane action. But in the time being, we are going to be preparing for our North American tournament. So congratulations once again to Bad Intentions, Positive Vibes, Goblin Spiders, and of course Bai, who we will be seeing in Leicester. Now, we're going to give a little enemy raid, as we always do, to one of our amazing streamers. We're going to be giving one to Alchemy Yeti, so prepare for an enemy raid and show him some awesome love. Alchemy Yeti is a great person in our community who plays tons of games with all of the people in our community, and he's just been an amazing person bringing in new players. So show him some love, and we'll see you guys later for the North American tournament.